Darius Golden, you called it, but right now we're gonna have to let you guys go because we head into 2 p.m. See you guys tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. But let's see what the big kahunas and Sharif are up to over there.
Welcome, everybody, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, they're locked, they're loaded, they're ready to take the names as decided by you. So join Adair and I on How to Trade on the Midday Show and get into the chat and vote for your favorite ticker every day. What a move up for the NQ or the triple Qs. Beautiful move up today, 2.5%. All the Mag 7 in positive territory, Google included, but it really has been the Russ today. 3% for the Russ, outperforming the S&P, which is about 1.5%, outperforming the Dow, which is of equal value right now, up 1.5%. But it's really been the NQ and the IWM, the Russell at highs. Nvidia, the #1 name as selected by you guys. But as you see, no specific headline for Nvidia today, but there was that headline coming out of Intel and ARM that they are basically disbanding their partnership to compete with Nvidia for a GPU. ARM now looking for the services or looking to get the services of Taiwan Semi, guys.
Well, I mean, I would argue that a headline of a competitor, in a small sense, a competitor having bad things happen and losing business to further consolidate the top name is in some ways a bit of a headline for Nvidia. But at the end of the day, Nvidia was kind of going up anyways. So yeah, all the chips are up, really. Like the chips have been really strong today. The NASDAQ's done another 2.5 points here. I just feel like it's like broken record time, 2%, 3%, pick your poison in the afternoon. What are we pressing into? So Nvidia, long story short, it's been going up, but there was no dip buy available at any of like the big levels, right? So I came in here looking at higher lows off of yesterday and then 114 as well. It ends up just being a breakout through 119.5 and 120 were the only trades I had. So I didn't get any dip buys in Nvidia. It ended up just only being breakouts. There is a gap fill which is happening here to this close back on July 22nd, which is the 123 level, which it's at right now. So this is a level from just go back a few weeks ago. I'm looking for any kind of a pullback off of the even dollar to give into the previous high. But as we say that, another high gets broken on NVDA. 4% is actually a smaller day for it.
We're actually in the money right now, $1 and change. This has been an absolutely monster day for Nvidia. Dip buys into this 121, 122 area. I mean, look at this, 3 opportunities right there. Huge move, just nice upside move right here for Nvidia. We just take out 123. This is what happens when you're confident in a position, you like it, you get more. And that's exactly what we did. So we just buying these little kind of smiley face dips there in and around 122 against the 200 period. And there you go, man. Trade the best names to the strong side. It's very, very easy stuff. Nvidia up 4%. Great name here, continuously going again. We do have Bitcoin right now falling down a little bit, as you can see, down to 58 and really coming in right now. So I don't know if there's a headline or something about crypto, but it is falling off the face of the blockchain. Move 33.80 down to 33.1. right here for BTC. So we are starting to make a little bit of a move down here. I haven't updated this chart in a minute, so it's going to take a second, but crypto is starting to go to the downside here. Look at a 15-minute chart here for BTC, 58 and change. Let's see what's happening, but there it goes. Little dip down for BTC with some live Nvidia trading as we speak, man. Nvidia's been such a banger stock, but all right. I can't believe that we were nervous when we first broke that 120 area there. Just had to hold it, and we did. And not only did we hold it, we bought more. So that's the trade of the day for me. It is Nvidia, and it's a monster.
Petty Ice telling me Mara is retracing as well, Sean. So it looks like the entire group. Tesla next, 6.5, 6 2/3. Great day for Tesla today. Was wondering why this was moving up. We got sales data. We also got auto sales data, and it was up for the month of July. And you can see lots of strength in the EV sector right now. But guys, Tesla, nice day.
Yeah, I think I might have just heard a headline, but we'll see if we find anything on that Bitcoin move. It is the biggest move it's made today. Could just be we didn't break that 60,000 on Bitcoin, and maybe it's like a technical thing. Eventually, you try to press into resistance, you never do, and the sellers just decide to come in mass when you don't break 60,000. That's just a guess, though. But Tesla, I'm in Amazon right now, and this morning it was like, okay, Amazon we'll get to Walmart, liked Walmart, and obviously Nvidia. Tesla wasn't really on the radar, which is an absolute shame because there wasn't necessarily a catalyst for it. But if you were just looking at it from a technical standpoint, resistance at that 04, which has been a big level, couldn't break it downside after the number, and then it just broke out clean, the pre-market high. And then the rest, as they do say, is history. Bit of a double top here at the 216 level on Tesla. And just to give you a quick look at what is good about this move, on the daily, you are back above the 50-period moving average. Where it's intersecting a trend line is an old trend line. So I just probably haven't gotten rid of it, but it is the 50-period moving average that you're trying to hold above. That's about 212 on the simple. So it's very likely, barring a loss of VWAP or anything, that Tesla is about to close back above its 52-period moving average. I think any dip back in there would be an area of defense for Tesla. So good thing. I mean, a lot of stocks have already gotten back to those, and for Tesla, it's been a hot minute since it's able to get back to that major moving average. VWAP would be about the same level as that on the daily.
Sometimes trading earning names are great, and today, Walmart, I saw Dara trading this on the midday show as well, or looking at it at least. It's not really doing anything at all. So, I mean, here's Walmart today, absolutely nothing, just completely flatlined here. So I don't know.
Weird, right?
I don't know what they're doing or what they're up with, but I just want to bring that to everyone's attention. Walmart, just to kind of like barcode nation here. If we zoom in, you can sort of see a better area that we're kind of just bouncing up against it. I wonder, I mean, I'd like to go long for sure, but we'll just have to wait to see what winds up happening there. 73.355. Maybe a break there on Walmart, but kind of not doing too much. All right, I don't have any trades on Tesla, but definitely like that name. Here comes Google coming back in just a little bit. We are short this name. I do have to start to get some out. I'm trading, just trying to scalp it. The short, we had a good short here on Google. We're just trying to get a little bit more against the day's high. Again, we got stopped out once and got right back into it. But right now, we're just trying to piece out this trade now with Google. So, all right, back over to the desk, and let's talk about another chip name in SMCI.
Yeah, super microcomputer having a super day, Sean. There it is, 9.5% off the highs, though, down into a third. Yeah, we got wind that, Soros Fund Management disclosed that they're holding about 25,000 shares of SMCI, disclosing that in their quarterly 13F, guys. Market liking that, buying it up.
Yes, sir. And SMCI, when it wants to go, there's no stopping it. It's almost squeeze level on SMCI. There was one little hiccup, but mostly you've essentially had this big bounce. And why do I have a line in the chart there? I wish I could tell you it was mine, but last week it was. Obi turns and he's like, hey, there's this key level on the daily on SMCI. He threw out the number. I'm like, okay, I'll put that on the chart and see what happens. Threw it on the chart, and looks like it was a bottom on SMCI. So good one, and a great shout out. I think we traded it one time when it was SSR, just because it was down 10%. I'm like, well, how often are you going to have a stock like SMCI? And we just looked for an SSR bounce. Outside of that, if you're looking at this daily, not rocket science, about $670, a previous support level. I think incoming to that, you're going to have some inventory, as we like to call it sometimes. So previous support maybe turning into a bit of resistance in here at that 670 level. Still trying to push higher and higher, as SMCI. No trades for me, but I wanted to quickly go over. Amazon is really, really testing this 176. It's doing its best to fill in a small portion of the gap on the daily. Already topped here and reversed. Sorry, 177. Already topped here and reversed. So another fail at 177, and I want to trail out of this. It never got back to VWAP, but it held 176 even. So a lot of times you can like a VWAP retracement, but if a stock isn't going to VWAP and you want to buy the dip, you got to find it somewhere else. This just happened to be the 176 even. But if it loses this consolidation, I'm out and looking for the dip buy, either same area or back into VWAP. On Amazon, big retail name today. No specific news for them, but Walmart, good news. Obviously, this has been in a bit of a bounce back in its own right. So to the upside it goes.
I see on that screen it says Palantir, so I'm just going to go over here. It doesn't. I'm just going to go over here and talk about it just real quick because today we said patient to buy dips, looking for entries right near 30.75. So we talked about yesterday what we did on Palantir, and today this is what we did. We actually followed our plan, which is fantastic when that happens. There it is. So there's the dip down in. It already gave us that bottom, so we knew what to look for. And it was at, I mean, we wrote down 30.75. The bottom of the day today is $30.82. So we come within 7 cents of that bottom, and we picked it up as well. So there it goes. Average. First of all, we took it right here against that bottom, which was 97.90s. Then it fell in, and then we just took it against basically the bottom, right? I mean, that's where we average it in, and then we were going to give it to 75 or so break, the level that we had written down. That didn't come through, and obviously it's a nice move there. Bottom of the day, right back up there into VWAP. So those are definitely huge trades that we like to do. And right now, man, I got to get some more out of Google. This is a monster right now as we just shorted that right back in. So we haven't had this Google, we were wrong early, good late on the short, tried it again at these levels, and now we're back into the short in case this market gives it up. I mean, I don't want to be short against the market. This market is absolutely, all right, cancel. Had too many fills down there in case we did really tank. But I don't want to be short against the market. The market's having a nice day. But Google, again, only up 0.6 against the market, up 2.5. I like the stock short. Let's see if we can capitalize and get some more out near these lows. It's Google starting to head to the downside.
Applied Materials, Sean, they're going to report after the bell today, and it's a good look for them. The street looking at an increase in EPS up from $1.81 to $2.02. That's the expected. They're also looking for about $6 2/3 billion of revenue on the quarter. We'll have to see if they beat, but they're being bought up here ahead of earnings. Up, guys, 5 1/4.
Yeah, I feel like when the 5 or 6 sessions before you report your earnings, you've just traveled already like 15, 20% to the upside for a stock like Amat. Maybe there's a little bit of danger there. But the expected move is 5%, and it's already moved 5% just today, going into a little bit of resistance. I have no trades on it, and I don't think going into earnings, I mean, Amat may not be a stock that we would trade in the first place, but certainly before earnings, might put it on the wayside unless there's like some kind of imbalance or something to trade in the final 15 minutes or so of the day. So going to sit on the sidelines for them. If it does start breaking out and get a little bit heavy into like 220, 225 tomorrow, I think that's going to be an interesting price area. It's obvious. It's a 50 period. It's the last resistance. I am in Intel just quickly because I think we mentioned most of the stuff that we're in. Well, Alibaba, I'll get to Alibaba. Alibaba was from this morning. They reported this morning. JD reported this morning. One was good. One was bad in terms of reaction. And then they kind of both went up after the fact. Intel, basically it failed 21 at the top. I was shorted to this week's highs. Like in here, when that broke out, waited for it to fail 21, make this lower high in here at 2080, now pulling back into VWAP. So if it loses VWAP, looking for about 2030 would be, I think, a reasonable level if it loses VWAP here on Intel. So we're basically in this one on a bit of a retracement after it failed that $21 level. That BTC, a lot of people mentioning, still looking heavy. We're now down at that 58 level. A little bit of a bounce off 58, but you start to lose underneath here, then it could get a little bit more serious. You got to wonder, how long are we going to hold at these highs, 2.5%, if you lose this support on Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin's going to be in a problem area for sure. You guys know that I was selling some earlier this week, and we did talk about that, of course. So, all right, Amat. Look, I know they're reporting tonight. It's had a huge move back up to the upside again. We did have Armageddon. All it is back to where it was before, right back to this 215 area. So, big flush down, made its way all the way back. So as if it didn't really happen, that's a good sign to be able to catch a bid heading into earnings. Means that there's a lot of traders not wanting to be short and maybe covering some of whatever short they did have into earnings. But again, hard to judge it because the whole market kind of looks like a V shape right now if you take the last couple weeks. So, not above the 50 period. We did see, was it Nubank had a nice run up. Some of these other names, they're hitting 50 periods and kind of hitting a little bit of a resistance spot. So I would say you're doing pretty good if you get to 222, 225 or so. The expected move on Applied Materials is, it keeps on hovering over 5.2. stupid stocks. 5.2% right there for Amat. Its previous move was only 0.09.
Massive.
So, or 0.9 actually. So 1% last time right into here. And then right now 5.2 right there on your screen. So we'll see if it moves more than that. It'd have to in order to get this guy interested. So that's Amat. And we'll see. You want to ask the ball? If
Well, I'm going to ask the 8-ball, the most obvious, because the 8-ball has not had a question right yet.
Right.
Unless you guys asked something yesterday.
We did, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay, so I know the answer to this question because it's going to be no.
Yeah, good.
No, I'm just will Amat get traded on the morning show? I don't know, like on the morning show tomorrow. Right?
I know the answer to that already, yeah.
But like, I want to give it a softball.
Okay.
Here, let's give the 8-ball a softball. This one, I can't read this one. The bubbles get in the way. You can't even read it.
Too much, I guess.
I guess I'm shaking too much. It's coming up
couldn't read
here.
yesterday either, so.
Hell no.
It's right.
Let's go 8-ball.
8-ball back on track.
It's back on track.
Nike.
Not heck, but
Just
hell.
do it, Sharif.
It's all about Ackman yesterday, Sean. He was buying up a storm in this. Yeah, 4.5% here because Pershing Square just closing overnight. They took a new position in Nike as well as Brookfield and some others. Also lightening up on some other positions, Google included. They're watching that very closely, they say, the Department of Justice approach here with Google. They're going to discuss, apparently, their new Nike and Brookfield ads later at another corporate event. But right now, we're just going to have to take their word for it, guys. Up 4.5.
Remember, Ackman necessarily, wasn't in there buying yesterday, wasn't in there buying any other. We don't know as of June 30th, I think it was. So he could already be out of this name. 45 days. Who knows where he's in? But Nike, I'm just looking at Nvidia right here quickly.
Under 74 is all that you can pretty much surmise.
Yeah, exactly. So they're long down here, up now, taking out these highs. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some selling coming in the name over the next little while because, again, 3 million shares. Take $10 on it, whatever, $30 million, ho-hum on that one. Probably sold out a lot of this already. Let's wait to see what happens with Nike. I mean, I'm more interested in, again, more talk. Let's hear if Bill is still in these shares and what the plan is with them. Is it an investment or what? I haven't done the research on that. So I think that would be the next shoe to drop is to figure all of that out. But for today, Nike again, you could treat names like this as earnings almost. Huge move up and see what happens. We saw Walmart do nothing all afternoon. And Nike again, there's the initial sell-off where people taking profits. Makes sense, right? I mean, you can only profit on an option until you cover it and you got to sort of liquidate, so that would make sense. And then the bottom was in, and that's a gorgeous one down there at $81. So wish again that we had seen that. The good thing is that we're getting better and better every day. Like today we had on here Walmart, this is yesterday's, but we had Walmart on here. We had Hood, which we didn't look at. We had Starbucks. So, second and third day plays continue to be something. And we'll look at Nike tomorrow for sure off this 81 level, if not later today. I mean, it could get back there.
Yeah, all last week. There was great. Everything was a buy after Monday, but a lot of the best plays were just something reported was going with the party, and you get the bigger move on day 2 or day 3, or at least a continuation move. So no breakout, no fill in the gap yet on this daily, which sets us up. Maybe it happens tomorrow. It's the last day of the week, so if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it could also never happen. You might never break this. I don't think that's necessarily going to be true. It's just underneath $83 here on the daily chart. And what did Nike do? It got right up there in the pre-market, decided to do a bit of a dip. Doesn't seem like it's got the juice to take out these highs today. If it does, I like it. If it doesn't, then we wait till it does. So it's pretty simple for me on Nike. Continuation plays don't only mean it breaks out yesterday's high or breaks out a double top. It could always just dip tomorrow into 81 again, right? Like that's perfectly valid. That's what Palantir was doing. Like Palantir last week was just look at the dips, hold the previous close, and then continue to trend up. It's not always about breaking out the previous day's high on an upward trend. So Nike, maybe it does it tomorrow. That's what I'll be interested in addition to that 81 level as well. So the market we're holding the top, but this is kind of what we're looking at. We're holding the top on the NASDAQ. Every now and then you'll get a test of the high, a bit of a dip, and the last big one was maybe like 40 or 50 points. That came like an hour and change ago. So you're just grinding higher here. Anything that is relatively weak, I like for fades in here. I already mentioned, Intel. Alibaba was a breakout above 81 early. It then failed it. Well, not failed underneath, turned underneath 80 is a better way to look at it. And then basically just curling underneath VWAP here. So VWAP was good one way. Now it's trying to be good the other way here on Alibaba. But yeah, let us know what you guys are trading. Joseph in the chat, why did BTC dump? I didn't hear any specific news in my ear. I didn't see anything on Twitter. It did turn in front of 60,000. So it could just be something technical on Bitcoin. And it's not exactly because the market is struggling, right? So if Bitcoin is going to drag us down, right now it's not doing it. Amazon about to get to the high of the day. Just tag the top there. So if we get back underneath 177, just moving the trail as we're hanging on to this. And yeah, chill vibes. This ASTS has been a monster. I pulled this up on FinViz and they had the price to sales as at like 30,000. So
you bought in immediately?
I mean, obviously, when you see a value like that, if you're trading at 30,000 times sales, was it 3,000? I feel like it was 30,000 times sales. No, sorry, it was 3,000 times.
Yeah.
3,000 times sales, which is still ridiculous. So yeah, 1.4 million in sales, and the market cap is, well, it was
like that valuation?
It was 4.6 billion. It's up 50%. So that's 5,000 times sales now, unless they reported recently, which is entirely possible. But yeah. Absolutely, the stock is going nuts, and it's got a decent short float. I want to say it was 20% when I checked, 21.5% short float. It's got 15 or so green candles in a row on the weekly chart, so I don't want to take anything away from the move that it's making. But yeah, probably not like for the value investor out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not right in the pocket of a value stock with a PE of 3,000. Oh, price to sales, not even P.
That's not even.
There probably is no earnings.
Earnings?
So, yeah, earnings.
We talking about earnings?
Yeah, not for that name. But I don't know. I don't know enough about it, so we'll see what's happening here. Google coming up to its high again, 161.60. Our stop is always been 66, is like basically the high of the day here for Google. I mean, we are just getting some out. We will reload this right here. We have done that exactly. We could look into some earnings plays. I mean, we talked, I was just going to look today. We have Alibaba right there. We had Walmart. JD, we can have a quick look at. I was looking at Alibaba right now. There wasn't too much else popping through there. As we'll look to see this column here to see like what percentages are actually flying through or not on these stocks. But for right now, here we go. So this is this move. So 6.9%, 7.5. Oh, John Deere, I guess. Yeah, up 7.5. That was one
Big
to look
move.
at. For sure there today. Down 11% is Dillard's. I don't know, retail, I guess. Other than that, not much that I'm seeing on here on page one. And I don't think there was too many names that we were really looking at here today. Aftermarket, we talked about Amat and some other ones. No, I'm not really seeing anything
Nothing
there
crazy.
with the earnings calendar today. So.
But like JC said, when we had him on this morning, you know, you don't sleep on things like the Caterpillars and the John Deere's of the world.
People always think it's only tech. Like there's so much value. Energy is huge. We looked at XOM recently as well.
And they're all going to get more efficient with AI as well. Let's be real.
Every stock, every company, right? I mean, as long as you are putting something AI in your press release and stuff like that, you'll be, it seems like, be rewarded. And I feel like you're right. Even the energy space, right? Getting more efficient with all of that. Understanding, I mean, even the tractors, the John Deere, the Caterpillar, all these machines, you know, machine learning, time of day, seeding, all this kind of stuff. I mean, those of you that are using these machines probably would know a heck of a lot more about some of the transition there in the farming space. Apple right now, I mean, I was just trying to find out, you know, about some of these stocks. We're still short Google, and you know, we'll still hope for this market to fall because it's really my only position. We're $1 in the money on Nvidia, but we're light on that one. And Palantir, we talked about it. We'll hold on to those, and if they keep going up, great. But my net is going to more rely on whatever happens with Google right this second. But Apple's trying to take out the day's high as well. And I mean, we keep on mentioning this. It's like, I thought that Apple, sure, you're never going to catch this top like 235, 240s. If you did, that's great. 237.50 all-time high or so. You're almost there again. You're a day or two away. You come in tomorrow with a decent story on Apple and you're up 3%, then you're at that 230 area immediately. You know, and then we start to get a little spicy with it again. So I'm, you know, really excited for Apple. Feel like it's had a nice comeback. Again, since Armageddon, it's up every single day. Nice move here, try to take out these highs. And then on the daily, by the way, we're getting some more fills here on Google as it's coming back in a little bit. There it is right there, 225.50, 225. 275 or so are those wick tops, with that next top being 227. So yeah, you could basically go long now and try to just hold it against VWAP or something if you really liked it. But I mean, obviously it's better waiting for some dips at this point. I mean, this afternoon,
I gotta say something about this ASTS. Just a clarification. They apparently did report.
Okay.
I think they reported like maybe aftermarket last night. Because I just see like I don't know this company. They reported their second quarter results. This says 21 hours ago. So they reported last night that 3,000 price to sales has probably changed. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I read the report, but it doesn't necessarily change anything about it. But to your point about Apple, so there's one thing that happened on Apple today. It was a couple things that happened on Apple today, but the one that was most adjacent is a lot of times if you change direction in the stock, you might miss the opportunity to go back to the trend. Like if you do a mean reversion trade, let's just say, like in this case, Apple bounced off VWAP, and I just simply, I was out of the long, and then this long at the top there, I didn't think short, but the second I got this dip buy into 225, I was like, this isn't right, and it ended up being a good decision to get out, but it bounces off VWAP and then does one of these little trend reversal plays that I've been looking at. Bounce off VWAP, higher low, gets to 225, can't break, breaks the trend line, shortened VWAP, but then I don't go long off VWAP on Apple. And that was a mistake because Apple has been super strong. The best thing about Apple for everybody out there, I mean, Apple, good upward trend. It gives you a couple of bucks worth of movement. It's only 1.5%. It's the kind of name where it's like Old Faithful. If the market's going up and you miss like Nvidia, I mean, Tesla goes nuts, Nvidia goes nuts, and the market's going up, Apple's that one that you're going to be able to find your way into, I think, for most traders. So, always have that one in your back pocket. If something's going and you don't want to be in chase mode and get that FOMO, a lot of times Apple will have these good like dip buys, casually bouncing off of VWAP, follow the trend, not necessarily rip faces off, but provide you with plenty of opportunities to get into that upside. So let's see what happens there on Apple. Maybe we get VWAP. I'm thinking at this point, it's possible, but if it decides it wants to bounce somewhere in front of it, like 224.5, no problems at all with that. So Amazon's testing the high of the day. Again, just moving the trail at this point now underneath this little wick under here. So it's like 177 change. I do have the trail on them. And we never looked at Meta today.
You were saying about how Meta was just so high. It was
Meta is...
That was unbelievable when you told me. I was at 540 again?
No, I was completely shocked by a few things. Well, I mean, I wasn't here yesterday, so I didn't necessarily see all of the price action for some of these. But Meta on the weekly is right back to this W pattern, whatever the heck you want to call it.
That is about $100 from Monday.
That's what I'm saying. It's basically
25%.
It's right back to the 52-week high. It's you're now within $10 of it. Like, this is nuts. Like, some things have gone back, but other things have gone right back to the top. This one makes me a little bit nervous. Like, oh, is it not going to test this high and pull back off of 540? And did we get a glimpse of that today? I think I'll come in tomorrow being like, not chasing any kind of it breaks 540. I don't want the long on Meta. I kind of feel like that could be a bit of a dip. And it's not at the highs while the market's at the high right now. That has me concerned a bit because it's such a huge move. I don't wonder if Meta, if we pull back, this one is in the sell through VWAP. Just given how far this sucker has come. Congratulations to anyone that got into Meta. I added on absolute fluke on Monday last week because I just happened to have a stink bid in. And I got picked up and was like, well, that was rather fortunate because I didn't actively buy anything. I just got a couple of lucky bids.
It just shows you how, like I keep saying about this market being completely rigged. I mean, I think this is another example where Meta basically has gained $250 billion in about a week and a half. And that's just because, so there you go. Like when the machines are turned on for buys, there's not much stopping them. That is for sure. And Meta right now is on that move. And what a great stock this was. And again, when this was down near sub $100, and this was probably the best name that you could have bought. I mean, they got hit when they changed their name over, and then they had that capital expenditure and whatnot. Well documented all of Meta's downfalls, and I mean, they even screwed up. Meta has done nothing with that Threads, I feel like, and so they dropped money into that. That hasn't been producing anything, and then we still haven't really heard too much. I know that Meta AI does get some talk, but that's sort of the next thing there, and helping a lot with their advertising business. So yeah, MetaMan going to continue to work. All right, so we're still dollar in the money right here. I mean, Nvidia has been such a monster every single day. Boom, look at this early buy at 120, late buy at 121.75. Just keep on going, baby, and it's riding the 50-period moving average as we speak right now. So there we go. We did have a little bit, another average in for Google. So Google was all the way up there to 161.56 or so, into that high of the day. This is a danger zone for me. I fully admit that, because right now, although we're flat on the trade, even though I'm admitting this is a dangerous situation, the reason why I say that is the market's huge today, right? Up another 2.5%. It's not like it's looking like it wants to come down anything. We are at the high of the day. So being short something right now isn't necessarily that attractive. But the thing is we've already been here once and twice, and both times we had, the last time a lot less, like a lot shallower than the time before, but there is a pedigree here for this to come back down a little bit. So let's wait to see. You know, as day traders, that's what we have to do. You know, it's nice to sit on your hands and whatnot and be able to say, hey, I don't see anything now, and that's fine if you don't. But if you do, feel like it's time to put on some trades, it's 2:30. You know, we still have a little bit of time left in the day before, I mean, a little bit of time. We have tons of time left. Look, we took at the end of the day yesterday, we're hitting dollar club winners. We took $1 on Nvidia in about 3 minutes yesterday at the end of the day. So it's not like we have anything to worry about. We'll just sit here, try to make the best situations. Like Google just went down to 47s there and stopped completely. So I just don't know if there's enough volume to have any sort of a move continue right now. Maybe we will sit down, we'll do like a little chicken trading here and just pick up a little bit as we start to fall back in.
Bitcoin's still falling, by the way.
Peck away. Yeah, 57.8, yeah. Sort of peck away here at the bid and see if we can continue its move to the downside right there. So, all right, we'll wait to see. But for right now, we have a segment that, you know, is near and dear to my heart because we really like this guy.
Trust me, you're going to love this.
I brought him on to the recap show. He's a great friend of ours and been here for quite a while.
Yeah.
Took some time off. He's back on the show. Might be one of the reasons why Meta is going higher and higher.
It's entirely
This guy's got an
possible.
Instagram page. It's killing it over there.
Well, no, things aren't going to fall until we get the AOK that they are.
Right.
Trust me.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll trust you, but there's also somebody else that we trust right now. He's probably sipping on that Stanley. We're going to find out right now. Let's bring him in. He's our guy. He's Raider Trader. How you doing, Andrew?
You know, this is a trustworthy room, I would say, guys. So thanks for being so honest and trustworthy.
Did you like that intro? Did you like that intro? It was very dramatic, and I paced it out.
I did like that. That was very cinematic. Thank you, Sean. That was awesome.
No problem. I just want to make sure everybody understands who's coming here and what that's all about. So how have you been here as summer kind of comes to a little bit of a wind down? You've been enjoying yourself this summer?
I have. I went up to the beach last week with my brother and my mother. That was nice. So probably the first time I touched grass in a while. So we hope to do more of that. You know, there's some comments of how pale I am. Let me believe you. I fully lean into that. I need to get outside more.
Yeah, I would say that
I didn't
too.
notice at all.
Yeah, you're feeling all right? No, but just all kidding aside, great to get out there and enjoy yourself for sure. That Ohio sun is very, very bright. That
dangerous,
is for sure. Right there, Akron, Ohio. You know, like.
Yeah,
the king, LeBron, right there, right now. What a crazy! I wasn't here last week, and all of a sudden I looked down at my phone. It's the craziest week in a couple of years. Absolutely insanity. Me and you sort of talked about this a little bit. When we get these little hiccups in the market like that, to me it means the market's. I mean, VIX went to 60. You know, we had some big volatility moments right there. To me, it feels like the market's a little sick, a little feverish right now. What are you seeing in the option market? I'm assuming these premiums have absolutely exploded.
Oh yeah, it's been, you know, towards the bottom of that August 5th, it was almost untradeable. I mean, on Monday open when spreads were, you know, there was like the most common stocks were having 30-40% spreads, so it was just a headache to try to trade. But as far as like this other stuff that's going on, we have lots to talk about, specifically with the options market, the put to call ratio, and what to look for. Now, I did hear Sean say right before this, he said, we need confirmation and trust that we're going to drop. Well, there are signs that we actually should be starting to position into a downside trade next week. So don't get too excited with this big move higher because there could be something that tumbles it down. But of course, we're going to get into that here in just a second. But yeah, other than that, there's some juicy data. If you guys want me to go over it, I've got plenty of stuff I can share here.
Well, that's what we're here for. I mean, that's why we're teasing it. It's like, hey, I know you've been tweeting a few things out there on the old X machine, and when we're gonna get this curl. And I just openly said, I looked up where Meta was and was like, I don't know if I feel good about where that's sitting. Could get a little bit. Some of these things are getting really top heavy. It's such a huge move that we just had. Usually there is something up when you see that kind of a move, and people might start taking some profit. At least I know I am.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know what? Let's just talk about a few things first. Obviously, last week I came on here and I had the Trust Me Bro chart. We talked about a 520 bottom, and that came from this right here. If you want to share my screen, this was our little chart that we talked. Seasonal top, come down in. We thought that we get close to a 520 bottom. While that level had changed, I believe we have completed the 5-wave cycle, and it's quite evident across the options market, which is right here. We talked about the major put walls, and that in the 816 we would expect some sort of bottom around that 520. It ended up being closer to that 517, 515 area, which ultimately had the better trade. But 520 was kind of the basis of why we started to bottom and rocket from there. That was the massive imbalance, and we started to correct off of that. Now, moving forward, a few things we have to be cautious of. Number one, the seasonal. So this right here is just a seasonal chart, and typically we actually see a negative period quite consistently around the 16th of August, which is that major monthly expiration. Following when all this money expires on that monthly expiration, you typically see new rotations. And within the seasonal chart right here, you can see we tend to go down from the 19th all the way down to the 25th, 24th, somewhere around there. So that's kind of a sign that, hey, maybe we could have a drop next week. And while I'd like to say a seasonal chart is good to look at for a reference and a guide, it's not concrete evidence. So what is more of a concrete evidence that we can look at? Well, it's this right here. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So this is right here, the defensive rotations. I've talked about this a few times on the show before, but when firms start to rotate money into defensives and out of growth, which we were seeing yesterday and today, it is actually a very good sign that you should see some sort of drop within 3 to 4 days time, which coincidentally lines up with around the 19th or 20th being next week where we see a shorting opportunity. So if you guys are looking to open up longs right now, I would caution greatly because a lot of forces in the market are disagreeing with that, specifically the options market, and we tend to believe that they are rarely ever wrong. So with that being said, my last little point here is within the SPY chart. Now, this is my SPY chart that we actively have. You'll notice two yellow lines here. You'll notice one on the 13th and the 2nd of August. And then the 16th. Typically 2 weeks before a monthly expiration, not quad witching, but 2 weeks before a regular monthly expiration, you see what's called a shakeout phase. And what do you know? Almost to the script, the markets start to drop. But 99% of the time, this ends up being a fake out. Then 2 to 3 days in between before you get a max pain move. This corrects an imbalance. Since we have a move up, it is likely that we do see a continuation down because this is the max pain for the bears. So we're going to be looking at that going into next week, short positions. And for those that want a good screenshot this. A little research can get you a little far. So this is 2021, and you can screenshot and see all those dates there. But that's it for me. That's my little perspective there. We can talk about the individual sectors, what I'm getting loose in, things like that. But,
Well, I think it's a great perspective, especially looking at that SPY. And, when you said we talk about things that are looking impressive, well, it's often when you have all that FOMO, I think, from last week, you get days like Monday, you get that market rally, and it's basically just continuing. And a lot of people that missed, say, dip buys in here, like, oh, well, goodness, I missed the big chance to get that dip. You get right into a resistance level, and then the trap is basically set, I think, almost perfectly there. But look, so market might turn. You need some confirmation. I don't think we're necessarily, not there yet. We're still going up. We're up 2.5% today. But what are you looking to maybe get into? Do you like some energy here? You had oil pull back a little bit. There's still some geopolitical tensions there. Like, what do you like? If you don't like putting anything clear in the top of the market, which I don't really blame you at all, what do you like here, Andrew? I know we've talked about energy before, but is eyeballs on that at all?
Well, I will say, Sean, first of all, I think he's an insider at this point. He was calling out Starbucks. That thing's up like 30%. But I digress. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But along those lines, consumer discretionary, those type of names, which like Starbucks.
Also talking about Google,
I'm actually looking into rate sensitive names again. We see today the outperformers being IWM, Solars, even ENPH, FSLR, and even Tesla. These names give a little hint that yes, we're going to get back into that rate sensitive trade. We've been talking about that over the next few months, we're going to be trying to watch for these rotations, see where the different topics come up, different news comes up, and the market starts to dabble back into these older ideas. So one of those is going to what you're going to be looking for. And like you said, Neil, energy is definitely one that I'm looking at. If you share my chart here, XLE, there was these puts that came in last just this week, yesterday to be exact, for the 88 strike. Now, typically you could look at puts, and a lot of people in the retail community would say, well, that means downside, right? No, actually, this guy right here is likely building a wall. So what you can see is a dip buy opportunity in energy, a continuation higher, and that we should see 830 into next week, some sort of continuation in energy names. What could cause that? My big brain says something along the lines of war news next week, something like that, that's going to get the market in another, hissy fit. So we'll see that. But, it's kind of coincidence that seasonal sometimes aligns with news. I mean, heck, why is this war news popping up in August when we typically sell off every single year? I don't know. Is it all rigged? I think it is, but that's what we used to our favor. So,
Well, I mean, it's not as if you have to think about when people have a button that they can hit when they decide to do launches, and would not be the first time.
Right.
No, I'm just being honest, man. Like you can go back to, I'm not going to name any presidents, but if you know a bad headline's coming around, drop a bomb somewhere, and that's usually going to get the job done. And it's not. There's nothing fun about profiting. I say it every single time. It's not fun necessarily profiting off of bad news. But at the end of the day, if energy is going to go up, and if LMT, Lockheed Martin's going to be fantastic, then you can either decide to be a part of it or not. And so I echo your sentiment when it comes to energy 100%. So I'm going to pass it to Sean because I know he's probably got something to say about Starbucks.
No, really, just thanks.
Just
Thanks for the credit. No, thanks for the credit on that one, right? I mean, we always talk about being completely open and honest with our opinions and things like that, and that was a good call, right? We've made some bad calls. We bought some. Actually, CrowdStrike is right back up.
Sean, we're 2 for 2. If you want to pull up a chart of crowd too, I mean, if you guys talk about the dynamic duos out here, three right here in this segment tend to not miss. So.
Oh yeah. No, we got it. And plus, also, when I mentioned Starbucks, you mentioned XLE, and both. Now, there's a reason why we got you back on here. A lot of love for Mr. Raider Trader. And thanks for that seasonality talk. I mean, I think that that's important, especially for a lot of traders to understand what could potentially happen. You showed that the worst month there's September as a red month as well, so it could possibly extend through 80 days today until election. So you're talking about, different catalysts that could pop through at any time.
Oh boy.
That would definitely be one of them. And by the way, since we've had you on, there's always trust me moments. And I think a lot of our viewers hopefully can trust some of these trades right here, because Google right there was a little bit of a money dropper right there for a banger as we talk with Raider Trader. We just shorted this, man, right to the top, then fall right back in there. I know that for options trading, often it's not the greatest to look specifically at the day. You want to look maybe at the week or some events that are coming up, economic numbers or whatnot. But I find the best strategy for me, especially with day trading, has been long, strong names, short, weak names. Don't try to fight any of the trends. Is that something that you often will try to add? And it's something maybe we've never talked about. If you have a nice winning position and it's going in your favor, will you pile on to that as it's looking potentially better in your favor and as it's starting to play out? Or is that something where you'll just take your full position and just let it play out and then inch it out? Or is that something that you've done in the past, adding on to a winner because you are that confident?
No, that's a great question. Great traders, and I aspire to be an amazing trader, a trader that I'm actually very confident being one day. Of course, we're always learning. I'm always, still even making mistakes. I'm only 20 years old after all. And a lot of although I'm, I consider myself pretty advanced when it comes to trading and in my performance and things. Could it be better? Absolutely. There's areas of mistakes that I have. But one of the strengths I believe that I do have is understanding from a young age that my mentors taught me to focus on management, that traders are made in management. Great traders focus on managing. And just to how you said right there, especially with leaders and laggers, that's just one of the most textbook ways to spend your time. I always talk about this, but one of the two things you can waste in the markets, it's not just money, it's your time. And if you're wasting your time in a stock that's not going to move, then you're also wasting your money. So longing those stocks that are the leaders, like you said, Google, these type of names that are popping, these guys are going to pay more than if you're sitting in some sort of defensive trade right now, like XLP, which is barely up, or something else, a penny stock that's not moving today. So you guys absolutely do need to focus on that. One little trick I do have though, if you guys, especially, if you come up to this top of a market, if we're starting to see maybe possibly a reversal off of news that you do want to short in a market top, you typically want to short the leaders for that initial drop, but the laggers are going to have that longest sell-off. In a market bottom, it's actually kind of the opposite, that the laggers when you reach a market bottom, they get the quickest buy at first, and then the leaders get the most prolonged bounce. So especially looking at rotations, I always talk about leaders and laggers. They're super important. Not waste your time. But yeah, such a crucial point, man. I don't think a lot of people they trade their favorite stock, but they don't trade the stock with the proper opportunity. So it kind of doesn't go well for them.
I just look back at the notes, and I was talking about CrowdStrike there, and 100%. Last time you and I were talking on the recap show, you did say between August 6th to 12th, look for a bounce back there in CrowdStrike. And honestly, man, I mean, here's August 6th, here's August 12th. So you nailed that one. Congratulations on that, as there goes CrowdStrike. Right back to where I bought it. Let's see if we can get back in the money on CRWD. Well, now that you told us that you're, half of Neil's age, the thing is that, are you an investor? And we don't, this is our own opinion, you have separate buckets right now. Do you put some stocks away for longer term, or are you mainly focusing right now on trading as an income? What kind of style do you have? Are you planning on going to school in the fall or anything like that? And if it's all too personal, that's fine, but just want to get into your head, because I know there's a lot of viewers that are impressed with your knowledge, as you mentioned, and sort of want to get into that mentality that you've had as well. So what's your path looking like right now, maybe as far as investing or in the next couple months?
Yeah. So before I do that, Neil, whenever that retirement documentary comes out, please hit me up. I will donate massive amounts of money to make sure that production is clean. But other than that, guys, yeah. As far as that other question regarding, what was the? Sorry, I lost track. Sean, what did you just ask me again? Sorry.
No, it was just about, first of all, what were your plans heading into the fall?
Oh, that's right. Okay, I got it. So as far as me as a young investor, that's right. I was just so focused on this documentary. Anyways, as far as me at my age, I'm actually not looking to invest long term. Majority of my effort right now is, number one, building my income. So things like the Rater Report, focusing on working with institutions, providing data, and of course trading. I believe that trading is hard to be an income, but rather a leverage of wealth. So people who aspire to quit their jobs to trade, I would highly recommend you don't do that, and you find something to fund you to trade or something like that. I think that's the smarter decision. You guys, most of your work is in the after hours as a trader, unlike Sean and Neil, who do this as a living, trading, capital that's invested to them. They're not trading the money they rely on to pay their bills for this month. So you guys understand that puts you in a different mindset, and you need to focus on that. Now, me personally, I built my own personal account up, and while I plan to not lose it anytime soon, it's not paying my bills. The only time I withdrew from it was to buy my Mustang. So unless if you're looking to do something like that, don't pay your bills with your trading account, guys. It puts you in a lot of stress, makes you very emotional, makes you mess up. So that's just words from a 20-year-old. But that's the best I can give.
I just want to ask you a question because you mentioned that about the Mustang, and I know a trader recently, like they hit a milestone, they treated themselves to something. I know early in my career, like the only expensive watch I ever bought was literally, I hit like a certain milestone, I did that, I never did it again. For you, did you need like an X amount of bankroll, and you're like, okay, am I doing this because you've reached a point and like your bankroll's gotten to a spot where you felt comfortable when you wanted to reward yourself? Was it like a dream car kind of thing? Just what's the story there? Because you just said you're not into long-term investing, but you picked up the Mustang. First off, congratulations. But yeah, did you reach a milestone particularly? Did you get to some kind of a benchmark? And how important also is building the bankroll before you start celebrating?
It was absolutely not a trade. Like I didn't hit some exuberantly large trade that made me go buy it. What actually made me go buy it was, number one, I was looking into buying a car. I was financially better off, and that's what made me comfortable to go buy a Mustang. But I was like, you know what? I'm in this position where I can go get this now, but I was looking for a car, and this one just happened to be like the all specced out, the one I wanted. So it's a 5.0. It has a Whipple in it, catbacks, injector. It's making over 750 to the wheel. So it was everything I wanted. I love project cars. I've been working on it all the last two months now. And more so even to bond with my brother and family. My
awesome.
uncle, they're huge into they're grease heads, man. They build cars from the ground up, and I've always been a car guy. So even I've worn a few Hellcat shirts on this show before, but I was always a car guy. So I did it mostly to just have fun with it. But at any given time, if I did go into some financial hole or anything like that, you just got to learn to, hey, at the end of the day, you can sell it, you can get rid of it, you can do more productive things with your money. But I love the car, I'm attached to it, and I think everyone, whether you're trying to trade for a certain, you shouldn't hit a dollar amount goal, right? You shouldn't be like, oh, when I'm trading, I need to make $100 a day, or when I make $1 million, I'm going to be happy. Because when you make $1 million, you're going to want to make 2, and you're going to want to make 3. So just understand that instead of reaching financial goals, try to trade because you love it and trade because you want to get better at it. And through there, through time, you'll whether you're buying a Lambo or a Prius, although Priuses are mad expensive these days, but you'll set different goals, guys.
Well, you said something that I just want to touch on because it's so true. The fact that you found something that you can share with your family, like they're into vehicles, and as a young man, it's an important thing. Trust me, you're going to be very happy that you have that. Going into the future, I found that with my pops and some of my older family, my uncles. I'm the only one that's into cricket, West Indians, and I now have something that I can always talk to and bond with them about, which is really cool, especially now that they're all retired. I think that's really awesome for you there, and obviously enjoy it. That's what it's all about. You have to do this. And you said that it's hard to trade as a living. Well, I say it straight up. Sean and I, we trade on a prop floor. So I've never had to trade my own money for an income. I've always traded somebody else's, and then you're on a prop floor with those risk controls on that platform and all that stuff, and that is an advantage, and it has been an advantage. And I think I'm fortunate. I think we're fortunate to be able to have that here at Real Trading, and it's not as easy doing it on your own. That's why we do this all the time. Thank you so much for those. I think can't echo that enough.
That's right. Yep. I think that's especially with the retail community. You see a lot of social media guys. They're out here with Lambos, blah, 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 and they shove cash into your face. And people think it's easy, and people think they can do it too. But the reality of it is, guys, a lot of these people aren't trading, and they haven't risked their own money at all in their life. So, just keep that in mind before you go and try to pick out what color your Huracan's going to be.
Andrew Rader, thank you so much for the great talk here today. Always a pleasure, always a blast. You want to leave us with one name? I mean, I think you've given us a lot. You nailed that CrowdStrike. Was there something? Sometimes we talk banks. Anything you want to short right now, maybe? How about that? Anything you're looking to see head to the downside, maybe despite the S&P or something like that? I don't know. What are you looking at?
Right now, I don't have a specific name. What I will say is technology short. Now, when I say technology short, we talk about dates a lot. I'm very specific with what dates I like to short because ultimately it's about timing the markets, not necessarily what level you always short off. I believe next week or into the 30th, you guys will see some news. The market's going to get nice and volatile. But one way to time this short, okay? Pull up the PC ratio. If you go look at my chart right now, the PC ratio, as it declines below 0.55, that is going to be an area where you want to be involved. The markets, when they do have that volatility spike to 60 and that crush back down, there's almost always another spike just with fears that any sort of news, it's real sensitive after that. So just be watching that, guys. I believe it's going to be between around the 20th. Next week, so just be watching that. Make sure you guys aren't over long, exposed, buying a bunch of calls right now. You've missed majority of the move, so now needs to be a time where you're reducing your risk and looking to the downside.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
we're that FOMO
overextended to the upside right now.
The 20th of August.
There it is.
20th of August. There it is, man. Hey. If you're going to trust anybody, go with the 20th. Go with the 20th. Nvidia earnings the 28th. Thank you, Andrew. Enjoy. Don't drive too fast on those streets of Ohio and get some sun. my guy. There it is. Do you really need those, really?
Oh, yeah,
all right,
baby.
there he is. Tom Cruise as well. Killing it here. You know what? I'll join you.
Oh,
why
boy.
not? We'll do one better. And
No,
have that.
no.
You know what? I have those exact shades.
You gotta.
Actually, the
There's no
Ray-Bans,
color on yours.
right
Gotta
now,
put
so
the
there we
color
go.
on.
Yo, that's the back of your head, my guy. There it is. Hey, what's going on? All right, we'll see you
there he
later.
is.
Oh, there he is. There he is. All right. We'll see you later, Andrew. Take care. See ya, buddy. Bye.
See you, Andrew.
All right. Peace. All right. Yeah, some good talk there with Andrew. And
Always
there you
fun,
go.
always fun.
Yeah, always fun. Always pretty decent as well. Thank you, Andrew, for coming through one more time. He did, give some good ideas there. We'll wait for some trades to pop off later on next week, the 20th. So we will remember that one forever and ever. Andrew Ray,
forever,
thank you
ever?
so much, forever, ever. Yeah, because we got to make some calls there.
Forever.
All right. So while that was happening, by the way, Palantir, we took another piece out there. That's a good win for us. That's 30 cents. We still have an offer up higher. We'll cancel that. We still have Nvidia. We're only in 10% left. I'm trying to hold out for hope here on Nvidia. The problem is I would have bought that dip right there, but we're net short. We were playing the short on Google. We made back a good chunk there on Google today as that's just come back in. But Nvidia, I think, could get bought at the 200 period. That's 122.50. Now that the market's, I mean, just before we had Andrew on, I mean, you guys can see it. Look, I know he was talking about trading prop floor and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what the ratios are between people trading their own money or prop floor money, but very few accounts are green, period. We actually talked about that, about the month of July. I'll update you at the month of August, near the end of August, how that's going for people here as well. It remains, even though this market is great to trade right now, trading is definitely something that does require a lot of discipline, patience, and exact skill. And it's tough to get all of those. And I appreciate Andrew, again, because not many talk the way I do, and I appreciate the way that Andrew does. So that is for sure. All right, we're ready to go, I believe, to the desk. We haven't heard from Adair in a minute, so let's see what up with that.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
Thank you, Adair. Just a couple of quick things. I did get that trail on Amazon. It just tagged 177.5 while we were talking to Raider and pullback. So broke that high. Now you're getting a deep pullback. Not a deep pullback, but a bit of a pullback. We got out in that 30 zone. So if it gets to 176 and VWAP again, we're going to go over to that if we get a chance. It's like a big if. I just heard something in my ear about Indo. I didn't catch it. I know it just resumed. It was halted downside. It just resumed. I'll have to double check to see what the news here is on INDO, if there was causing that spike to the downside, but it is now reopened and trying to bounce. So failed off 365. This is an energy name, decent short float. A lot of times you're going to get those big spikes up. Like this will really start going when you get some of the geopolitical stuff and those spikes up in energy on INDO, but it is open after halting down at about 330, not the time, but 330 the price. So if you look at this, it started at about 365. Were it to get back into there, that could be a resistance spot. And because it's always a smart thing to do, if I do trade it, I want to make sure we have locates because I wouldn't want to assume we don't and then pay for locates only to find out that they are free. But it looks like we have to pay for locates.
Yeah, we were talking about that ASTS as well today, where Sharif wound up paying for it and then became free. So you got to always double check it here at TraderTv Live, but at Real Trading, of course, as well. I mean, I have all these scanners going. Nothing's really trying to hit right now, so I'm just kind of just waiting to see. It's almost a, and again, I don't. This whole power hour, it doesn't really matter at all to me what the hour is or anything like that. But we are heading into 3 o'clock, so we'll see if there are a few more movements happening coming up very, very soon. Let's go over to ARM Holdings. I mean, there's always something happening here, except for right now, of course, as I pull it up. Again, like, wow, you know, good name, up 3 and a bit. You know, just another one of those names where there's been a lot of talk about ARM, of course, huge moves down and well retraced back up over the last couple of days. So, I mean, a lot of these stocks look the very same. And I agree with a lot of these. We had JC on today. We just had Andrew on. Yeah. We're talking about this, Neil, myself, Sharif, Adara, all that. You know, I think there's just been such an aggressive move the other way right now. back upside. It's hard to say you like anything at these prices right now. But again, names that are breaking out, like a Meta or even like an Amazon, that I just feel like Amazon got a little bit of an all clear today. Again, not only were their earnings not well received, but for some reason here now today, Walmart comes out and puts out a good customer number there. Retail pretty strong. Alibaba again as well on the online side of things. And then of course, as we sit here and wait to see hopefully some importance with Amazon and what exactly is happening with those numbers. But Amazon trying to take it out and basically clearing that whole gap up from 180 as we drop down into that forget about 150, but 160 area, now making its way all the way back up. It's basically filled that gap. I think you want to wait for 180 break. But right now, Amazon, what a good day it's been for that. I mean, buying off VWAP again, boom, boom, and came close right there. That's just another strategy. Hit it off of VWAP and see if you can, get a better fill.
And it kind of goes without saying, but I'll say this anyways. Like, I don't dislike Amazon or Meta in a general sense. Like, of course, I'm not going to hold those stocks forever. It's just how fast. We're just buying some of these things on Monday, and then you get these massive moves. And like in 2 weeks, if you can catch 10, 15%, sometimes it's just like, let's take it out. And then you got that powder, and then you can go right back in on a market dip, throw it in the queues on the next dip buy, throw it into whatever gives you the opportunity. So that's all. Like, I'm not selling anything for good on any of those types of names. Like, there's stocks that you'll get out of and you don't want back in.
Why are we talking about selling them?
No, I was just saying at the high, because I mentioned I'm going to take some profit on Meta. Okay. I'm not selling Meta because I don't like Meta. It's never about that. It's just about, hey, we got something out of it, maybe a little faster than I was expecting, so I can take some profit and be ready to deploy that again if I need to. So pretty happy with it. But in the long term, buy and hold does usually win. I like buying dips regularly. In one of the major markets, it's just like a certain amount that gets put away each time. I got out at VWAP on Alibaba just to show you guys there. You're going to see that one come out a little bit there. And Apple double top at the highs currently.
Oh man, like trading is, and we talked about this yesterday, how much fun we have here trading every day on the show. But it's even better when you turn around and this is happening right now. Look what just happened to Google. We are collapsing and puking all over itself, and it's really nice when you make these calls and they actually work, and then you put some capital in it and able to have this kind of a rebound for the day here. So great trade there for us on, take a piece out right there. Now we'll wait for some O2s. We just took a piece out at 13s or 12s, or wait a second, what was that price? 10s actually we just got. So nice move down. So that for price right there is 05. We're actually waiting. I don't know why I was at 05 and 02. Sometimes I just put out too many orders and it's like, what have I done? But right there, nice move down and into the 200 period. And again, like if you want to talk about taking a trade, discussing it, putting it on, we'd even discussed it right there with Raider Trader was on as well. And there's the move back in. It's trying to stay in our zone and trying to be comfortable with the strategies that we're putting on every single day. And it's so far so good and working out right there for Google. So it's a nice move to the downside right there right now. What I was getting at there before we start talking a little bit about selling Amazon and Meta was Alibaba. Again, we had talked about some of the retail and sort of getting that all clear today. Alibaba's flat, so that's good. It was down 2% early, and then it battled back all day. He made a huge move to $82. Fell back in again, and then now you're just in this sort of doldrum. JD is another name. Is JD's NQ? Oh yeah,
I think they're in New York.
I can't see shit on this screen.
Oh no, it's
JD NQ there. So we'll flip over to that and see what this is doing today. Come on, man. We're now 48 cents, sorry, in the money there on Google. Let's see if JD has any sort of a movement today as well. So yeah, same kind of thing. Nice upside move before fading out. I didn't even realize this was only $27 right now. But yeah, another earnings report there in China trying to dance around again. But I'm looking at the charts, man. I mean, Roblox is near $39-40 again. That's great to see. JP Morgan, some of these banks still, I mean, as far as I know, remain near their highs. So we'll have to check out JP Morgan in just a second once this loads up on the daily chart. Yes, it is. It's trying to break out. That's still JD. Still trying to break out through its high, though. Come on, Google, man. That's going to be a good one. Right there, this high break is great. 217 and change. Not there quite yet. And, banks won't really gap up like that much overnight or anything like that. So we'll wait to see as JP Morgan continues to climb higher and higher. Yeah, you guys are saying this ASTS stock. I mean, I remember getting Sharif shorts And good thing he's still not short, because
It just
that
doesn't
was
stop.
a huge mover. Again, ASTS up to $33. And I mean, just nowhere to be found. This name probably reverse split. I'll have to check it on it.
What's crazy about that move is there hasn't been, if you look at the whole day, like where is that one or two candles that just says
Google.
we're up
Give it to
60%
me,
and there's one or
baby.
two that are absolutely insane? No, there aren't. It is a linear move to the upside, which is at least good because then there's no reason to short it. Like at no point has been like, well, that's an FU candle. This is a reversion. I haven't seen it at all.
Holy shit.
Flat bottom break coming in here. Not yet, but the longer it holds, I'm already in it, but 2050 has now held for a half an hour on the way back in here on until underneath VWAP, and it's holding 2050. This breaks, I'm going to go short. Well, I'm going to throw an offer to go short underneath 50. It's not like it's SSR or anything, so it's Intel. You'll get 48 or 49, no problem. If it was short sell restricted, you just throw the offer and hope to get there. I've seen a couple of questions about Clover in the chat. So no worries. I mean, look, if we break 50, I'm going to get in, but it hasn't happened just yet. It's up 7 points today, and it is running. So this is probably the best Clover has looked in, I mean, I don't even know. I'd have to pull up a weekly chart. But yeah, up that 7%, just a continuation style play here. So it's actually looking pretty solid on Clover. I always, with names like this, no one ever went broke taking profit is generally the first thing that I think about, and be careful with those bag holding levels. But it's now 3 days in a row, and it withstood a heck of a drop at the open to continue to bust it out. So I think the shorts might have done some covering when it retook that high. Slowing down today. I don't see anything in the afternoon. Look how tight that range is. It's not moving at all right now. Dara?
One name continuously making new day's highs here is Rocket Lab, RKLB. This one keeps popping up here on volume. Currently up over 13%. No news, but tons of social media attention. We're talking multiple tags per minute. They also have a short float of 10.7%. So interesting look here for RKLB staying strong as we head into Power Hour, guys.
All right, yeah, watch out for Rocket Labs there. Obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but going to be news-based there. We will take a quick little look, and I just want to say, like, as Neil was talking there, we did get, and he might have saw a little bit of a flush down, because that's exactly what Google did. We just got 161. That is nice to see about that Clover, by the way, because as much as I was saying, like, Chamath has absolutely crushed shareholder wealth, which he did, obviously. 270 right now. A nice move there for Clover back up. Yeah.
If you pull a weekly chart up, it puts things into a little bit of perspective. But
yeah,
I didn't want to scare anybody.
Yeah, no, I think people that know about Clover are scared already. SoFi right there. SoFi made a 52-week low down there at 570, obviously. I mean, it's, again, to look at that is something else. But we have bounced off of 630 again, SoFi. And as we had Robinhood on our watch, you can see SoFi. Obviously, the two aren't alike. I mean, Robinhood is up here. SoFi is just kind of chilling out, trying to break out right now. But it's nice to see a little bit of a bump up again right there. In my account, like, I'm done buying all these kind of crazier names. I just keep on buying high quality names. And honestly, the fact to buy Amazon and some of these names that we talked about, Nvidia, Nike, Starbucks, like all of these like names that actually are businesses, they seem to be working out a little bit better than some of these shots in the dark right now. And I mean, we even had Andrew there talking about laggards coming out faster and leaders going down quicker when the market does tend to reverse course. So yeah, SoFi, you know, being a lagger obviously over the last
little bit.
It's down. I mean, the market's up this year. I don't know what the NASDAQ's up anymore, but it was up, 11, 12%. I think it's 18%, something like that. And then if you're holding on to SoFi, you're down 30% or maybe 20% this year. So yeah, definitely some catch-up trades happening right there. Is it a catch-up? Is it a mustard? Or is it relish? It is SoFi either way, and it's a Dara at the desk.
Keep an eye on Zoom here, getting its largest candles and volume candles of the day here, pushing to the downside. There's a Russian hacking group claiming to have hacked into Zoom, so not confirmed, but some claims here from a Russian group that they have hacked into Zoom. 2 million user accounts reportedly affected. So again, some hacking claims here, sending ZM to the downside with a pretty nice volume spike here, guys.
Yeah, not looking. I mean, I feel like it's not that bad.
Not involved.
I know, you just better hope. But I don't think it is. I actually double-checked a couple of minutes ago on CrowdStrike and was really happy with it. We'll go there in a quick second. But if you're not absolutely tanking on a hack and it's still green on the day, like it hasn't lost the bid completely to fill in the gap like this, then usually you can I don't want to say this is going to be a nothing burger. That's not fair to say. But it's not falling apart as if this was super serious. And just because I had pulled up CrowdStrike, my issue with the problem with CrowdStrike, not much in terms of the way that it's been bouncing off some of these lows, as you can tell, but it's this 265. So 265 was that second day dip where it had caught a good little dip in here, and then it rejected 265 to make the fresh lows. So right here is about to be some pretty key resistance, I think, for CrowdStrike, because it's getting real close. It got to 263.5 today as the high. So you're within spitting distance tomorrow, and I don't wonder if you don't have a bit of a pullback in Crowd when you get to that level. If you get to that level, certainly looking very, very close. So just going back over, I never got locates on that Indo. I might try in a couple of minutes. It is continuing to go down. I'm not going to chase it. Even if I had gotten the locates, I don't think I would have been chasing it all the way at those lows. Was trying to grab it off of those halt levels. Halted, opened back up, got to 340. Was kind of looking for either to go there or when it made a top, short it through 330, the halt price with a stop at like 338, which was the high after that. Not going to be chasing if we do end up getting those. Did we trade SMCI? No, did not. The only day I traded SMCI was last week when it was short sell restricted, just looking for an SSR bounce. Like it was short sell restricted, down over 10% the day before. It made a couple of really nice bounces, just kind of took a breakout trade that I scalped out of. And oddly enough, I was trying to hold it for more and weasel my way out at $4 when I was trying to get 8 to 10, and I didn't reverse it. And that was a mistake. But there was a wall of selling that you don't usually see on level 2. Like SMCI is pretty thinly traded. There was a seller, and it was like $538, was it? I think was a level in here. Yeah, it was right in here at 538. I was long at 34 on the way back up, and it got to 38, and it was like, what is going on here? There's like a lot of actual selling on a thin stock, and then it just dumped after that. So I got out of the long, and I haven't traded it since. Congratulations if you have. Be careful. On that earnings reversal, this is pretty much where it was when people got bamboozled in the earnings breakout. This is where it was on that. A lot of things are getting to top levels that I'd be nervous of if I was trying to buy them that high.
Tesla 215. I mean, we're trying to figure out what's going to happen here with this market, obviously, as we're starting to pull back in again. And look what we just did. We just went right to today's high again and then faded right back down. And we're just holding on to a big one here. It's Google. So, you know, just the shares that we have left on board can do some damage. So let's wait to see. I don't have any more bids until sub 161. I think those were the best fills that we actually got, was 161. We did break it a little bit down to 93. And look, that's sort of where we held earlier on there on Google. So hopefully these shorts will, there's a stop out, by the way. Hopefully some of these shares will eventually come to roost here and be able to get that fill come back in again. So it's funny because we were talking about our day here today, and it's like the only red name basically we'll have on is Google. We were trading Shopify earlier, going short. We're able to make a little bit of money there, then a little bit, then it broke out. So this will be a slightly red name for us today. Will be Shopify, as that just kept on going up again. Look at that top though, double, triple top again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming back into play there for Shopify. We had this long $70 yesterday. Talk about just what a great opportunity that would have been to hold that. 70 was so smooth yesterday for sure. Bitcoin really holding out, but down to 57 now.
More flat bottom breaking in like 2 pennies with Bitcoin going down. I was looking over like coins tanking, Bitcoin still looking weak. Going to go to the well here. If Intel's not going to break another leg to the downside or support level to the downside, then I want to look at Mara. Right here, right now. It just needs to break this fresh low, and I think there's room to 15. This is oddly enough the exact same price as last week. We had a flat bottom break at 1550. Just a bit of a different story here as to what's happening with Bitcoin in this moment.
Yeah, for sure. Bitcoin is, I'm not, for some reason here, my Binance isn't even loading right now, so I don't know if we are
having good.
Problems at Binance. So please do not say that you heard that from Trader TV, Sean. It's not responsive right now. So maybe they are getting that all figured out, as Bitcoin right now dropping down to 57,000. Right now goes BTC. So you can go over here and just check out quickly IBIT, right? Here comes IBIT. Look at this. Nice move to the downside right now for IBIT. So we'll go bang. There it is. It's a nice short coming through. But you know what, man? The real money's being made right here. And that is, of course, Google, as that's starting to fall back down again right now. Good move back. Watch out for 161. I told you we're bidding slightly underneath that. Let's make this a winning trade here. here today for Google and bring that back in right now. Okay, here we go. We are actually now, oops, no, I don't want to sign into this Binance chart. I just want to show you the chart. It did load, so there we go. All right, now I zoom.
It's a little staged.
No.
Yeah, it's a little shy.
Use my account. I don't know. I don't even want to use an account to sign up.
I have a.
No, it's okay.
I have a trading view up if you want it.
It's all good. It's coming back right here in 1 second. All right, so we'll just go down here, go to a 1 minute chart and have a quick look. So there's the drop off, and it is continuously going right now, even though this is Ethereum. Nice move to the downside right here for Ethereum to 2,500. So again, a similar drop at 2 o'clock on Ether, right down to 2637. So that's not nice. We'll go over here and find out some BTC right now. You know, I think I got to go to USD and then go USD versus BTC. FUSD. That's good enough. There it is right now, 57. So here's a nice little move to the downside right now as we watch out for FDUSD. We'll get it better, but there it is. Nice move to the downside for crypto. And if we're just going to go for a daily chart, it was what, 54 or so was kind of that magic level right there. So we'll see if we can get that. Again, not too worried about these complete moves down, but we sold some crypto earlier on this week. Not that we had any idea what was happening, but there's a continued move back in, and again, not really sure what the reason is for any of this. I would assume maybe it's U.S. dollar related. I mean, we had that Japan carry trade and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if that's getting out of hand. We can definitely check out UUP, which is the bullish index there for the U.S. dollar. It doesn't trade very much volume, but we can sort of zoom back. Yeah, so it's still right here. Basically hasn't moved all day and not much on the chart right now for UUP. So yeah, we'll wait to see. I mean, those of you that are trading Bitcoin would probably know more about what's up with that. And that's why you mentioned Mara. I think that's probably a better trade than Coinbase. Coinbase right now is 20 or 30 cents spread right now. We've done really well on Coinbase because of the spread, but you can also get stopped out. You're right now at the bottom of the day for Coinbase as well. So we actually talked about this up here at 202, 203. Today's high 205. Nice move down. Hey, man, maybe this is worth buying right here at the day's low again. Nice support coming in right now for Coinbase.
Yeah, it's finding something. I mean, Mara just refuses to break this 1550. So it's like it's getting really close. I might pull the old, okay, well, if it's not going to break down, resistance is here. It's a 15-cent range, right? So you got a pretty clean consolidation range. If it's not going to break the low, then the only other play would be to play off of the high, the local high. The high of the day is not happening again. So let's see if we can't grab it here at 60. We'll try to get in. I feel the same way about Intel at VWAP, but it's not at VWAP just yet. So those are two things I want to look at. Stephen Brown, you don't have to spam. Throw it in there one time in the chat. Nothing wrong with putting a symbol or something you're interested in, but no need to spam your QNTM. So there you got me to say it. Obviously, we got 45 minutes to go. So there is time for this to still make a bit of a move. But cryptos, outside of ASTS, the market's holding those tops. I feel like if we make another low on Bitcoin, Mara should be low-hanging fruit. Like Coinbase, to your point, when you said Mara might be a better trade than Coin, like Coin kind of already broke down and is still falling, whereas during that time, all Mara is doing is chilling out, waiting for the next play. So it's kind of coiling up, and when it releases, I just want to take a shot at this one when it releases into the downside. And the only other thing was just Intel. Reload off of VWAP. So if it breaks 65, I'm out. I'm not going to wait for it to get back into 2080 when we started this, but if it breaks 65, I'm out. My price is now 64. Still wanting this to break $20.50, but we'll scalp in between until it decides what it wants to do there. Let's see what happens. There's a couple of names out there that I know you guys are talking about. Wolf, I know, was something on the midday show, but Netflix, that's a name I have not looked at in a long time. I'm joking. I looked at it last week on Netflix. This has been pretty darn weak today. It's never, one of the things that's interesting is when you're waiting for trades or if you're looking for the next thing to set up, try to figure out what is relatively strong and relatively weak if you haven't already done so. On a day where the market is chilling out at the highs, something like this underneath VWAP, this is what concerns me about some of these stocks. You get to levels like this, like 666, not that that's ominous at all, on Netflix, you wick the top, and then all of a sudden when the market's strong, all you do is fail breakout and can't go the entire day with the market. That's not a great sign, I think, here for Netflix. And yeah, it is right now resistance at $666 on Netflix. So that's where the concern comes in on a lot of these names for me, is when you're basically at monster resistance levels after everyone was just gifted. This was at $580. Like it's an $80 move plus on Netflix. That's 12 to 13%. I don't know where you got in, if you got it perfectly, let's just say. And you can just take that in a week and a half or 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, and it's at a resistance spot. And it feels to me like there's sellers in abundance on some of these stocks. I'm not selling my Netflix. I don't have enough that I care about it, and I didn't reload this one anyways. But good look for it on the day. Just don't like what we're seeing at 666. It just happens to be the price.
Would like to be finding. Oh, we did have a stop order for a while now, Nvidia. So I'm going to maybe change this. I don't. Okay, now it's at 45. I put it. I will keep it. It was down at 35. I was just looking at it. I wanted to sort of review some of these trades as it's coming into 320 right now. We're still 70 cents in the money on this one. This has been the cleanest trade all day. Nothing, nothing funky about this one. I mean, we bought the dips early. We've actually broke the 120 there. That was our first trade on Nvidia, breaking the 120 long right into there. Best outs there like 120.50. Like it wasn't going. You guys saw me sort of fight with that. Then it came back in. We bought the 120s again. Then we were lucky enough to sort of use, and again, we were trying to play off VWAP in the 50-period moving average. So we would have loved to get more long down there. Just didn't really fall into those levels. And we've been mistakenly bought early on Netflix before, or on Nvidia before, and had that thing drop down, yesterday. But today we sort of felt a little bit better about it as it was 10 o'clock. Giving us some levels, playing off some of here with the 50 period. And then all of a sudden, I mean, the rest literally is history, up $2 straight to the upside. And then we kind of just got a little bit bored in the midday of just seeing this market sort of just sideways trade. So again, being a support and resistance kind of guy, we found this as being possible support at 122. There was one area where we got stopped out early, or not early, but just kind of fighting with it, stopped out, bought it back again. And now we hold out. I mean, it did go to 123.20. I'm going to lose this if it drops below there. Obviously, we've talked about making a lot of our money back here on Google right now. So I do prefer the market to fall in just a little bit, but I do not want to short until we get back up here. We were just looking at some Tesla, so that's not really moving. The one name that I want to look at with day 3 or day 2 play now, I guess was going to be Starbucks. I mean, Starbucks right here, up at 94.25. So this is looking like honestly, a great level to short right now. You're up on the day. The market's up that 2.5 and near highs. So potentially it breaks higher. If it breaks higher, then 95.50 or so. I still think Starbucks is a short. Up 25% on nickel just seems a little bit too high there for the new CEO. But what do I know? It's been really resisting the drip through VWAP. So, again, in being a day trader, we always are looking for opportunities, but it doesn't mean that if there's something there, you can ignore it. And I don't see anything on that stock. Uber, $73. Wow. Every day I feel like I'm looking at this name since I've been back. And this was one that we were debating. And I came back from London pro Uber because I've been talking to everybody about these Uber boats and all that kind of stuff, which is super cool. About that as well. But anyways, looking to get into a name that I wanted to buy. And I guess the day we should have done it was Monday when we came in and was like, what? This name's back to 70? Like when we left, we were down here 63, 64. And I was looking at it down here at this level. So I wish to say that I could have bought some Uber down there at 64. That was, to me, a great price. We were worried about the robo-taxi. That was kind of brushed to the side there by Elon. Not even sure when that's going to be coming anymore. It was supposed to be this month, pushed forward. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for Uber, but definitely I like some of the businesses that they're in. So there goes Uber back there to the upside. Other than that, I'm going to have to add some more names to my scanner because I'm just not. Yeah, I mean, Palantir
holds 31 today.
We're in a 45-cent winner.
So I'm like this thing. I know I hate breakouts on this stock. It's not that I hate breakouts on this stock. It's just that I find, and maybe it's just a me thing, that the longs into the high are always better in Palantir than the actual break itself. And their stock, when Nvidia makes a breakout, it can be just as good or super explosive. You're like, great. It's sometimes even better the way it moved. But Palantir seems to almost be the opposite. But look at it hold this 31. So I'm lining up tomorrow as a continuation play, 31.5 above looks interesting. And then someone said Siri in the chat. I looked at it, and I don't know if you want to, I don't care about whether or not Warren Buffett owns Siri. I know it's got a short float these days and all that good stuff. What is it, like 25% short float? But you can do a heck of a lot worse than if it just wants to randomly start holding $3 like this, then you might find some decent scalp style trades. But the other side of that coin is if it loses $3, just an easy punch short sometimes on a 99 level breakout. And as I say that, I just looked at it, turned around to mention something about Palantir, and it starts bouncing off the 3. So looks like it's catching a bit off the $3. That's another flat bottom break, which just might not happen with the market strength that it is. So Intel won't break that 50. We got it at VWAP. Mara still refuses to break that its 1550 level. It was worth it last time to just wait around with a stop order breaking 1550 on Mara. This time, we're going to keep it in, but it's almost 330. It's either put up or shut up. The weakness in Bitcoin already happened, and if this isn't going to break, it's not going to break. Amazon thought we'd get a better dip buy opportunity after it pulled back 177.5, back to the high of the day on Amazon. And someone asked me if I think the market's going to be in pullback. I don't want to buy tops. That's the best way to think about it. I'm not buying anything at the top. And yeah, I'm looking to take some profit tomorrow, specifically on Meta. It's not like I'm selling a bunch of stuff. I'm just probably going to sell some Meta tomorrow. That's all. But yeah, I'm not buying any tops here this afternoon. We just cannot seem to break out these highs on the futures unless you get a good, attractive dip buy. I'm looking for some short opportunities. We're in one. Orders to break down on 2 of them. Was about to put Siri to make it 3, and then it started bouncing.
All right, losing some points here on the slot machine.
I haven't spun that in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I mean, we're still in Palantir. I mean, today's patience really paid off. I know we just sort of talked about that. What other stocks you guys want to do right now? We looked at. I mean, we could look at Walmart again. We had traded this to the positive side today, but there's absolutely nothing. Yeah, I know. Well, it's doing okay. It's not moving too much, but there was that high break. We sort of talked about this. Maybe potentially wait for that. We probably should have been there for the short. I might have been looking for the long. We are actually starting to head back in now for Google. We did not get an opportunity to reload that. I'd like to actually trade the futures as well, maybe. Coming in, but it's already 325. JP Morgan, I mean, I kind of did look at that as well. Yeah, you know what? Let's go back over to Robinhood. Robinhood was a forgotten child today because it was on my sticky note as trade idea number 3, and it was to go long. And we actually had a bid at 1915 or 1910, sorry, earlier this morning, and it went down into 1915. And we talked about this live on the air that we were bidding VWAP down here, and I just put 1910. Probably should have looked at that again because we had sort of put it in before the market had opened, so we could have reassessed that. But there's the dip down into Robinhood, and there it is right there. It is a sticky note idea. Travolta's like, hey, man, you just got to take it. But this is the thing I'm looking for right there. Sticky note. So grab that for now. Amat coming out after the close as well. We can see if there's anything happening right there. H&R Block as well coming in at the end of the day.
So this is so weird.
What is?
Someone in the chat just said you're missing the squeeze on Pacific Biosciences right now. You know, every now and then I'll dream of like level 2s. You might see like charts in your dreams. I specifically, the other day, it was maybe a couple of days ago, for some reason I woke up with this stock on my mind. And I have no idea why. It must have been something someone had said during the day because I don't own it. I haven't traded it. I hadn't looked at it. And then I saw someone say it. I'm like, yeah, you know what was weird? I woke up the other day thinking about this rando stock. But 30% to the upside. Caveat, when stocks get beaten up like this, percent moves, obviously, are off the bottoms. They're going to be ridiculously impressive. They're going to look so good, and they're going to be almost nothing in a greater sense. That's an opportunity, but you have to remember it's down here for a reason. So it's kind of squeezing. It's just gone from, this is the second time it's made this move, 135 into 175. What's the short float on PAC? I'm making a presumption it's a big short float. 21%. Okay, so that was a bit of a guess. It just happened to be right. So if it breaks out this 175, that looks good. I only like squeeze stocks if they actually break something. So it's just simply like a squeeze stock that's down 1,000,000% on the year, bouncing off of a bid is never really that exciting to me. It gets exciting for me when you break a top. That's what I like to see. When you break something out and then shorts are starting to cover because they're under pressure, not because they're getting it off of a bottom. So 175 tomorrow, I think you can get some continuation off of that one. Pacific Biosciences, another Kathy Wood name. Biogenomic name there. Probably mispronounced that, but it doesn't matter. You guys get the idea. She's been in that a long time, from the very beginning, I want to say, for Pac B.
Yeah, I do not follow Kathy Wood, but
cost base is probably 17 is my guess, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say anything bad about you and Kathy there. All right, so look, Nvidia just dripped. I don't know what happened. I mean, it just went right there to the downside. We're not that much happening in the market, so I think it just broke this level, and that's where we got out. I mean, we could have adjusted it for 45s. It would have looked a lot better, but we get out anyways at 35. That's why you got to have those outs scheduled so that if that does happen, you don't, get rinsed if there's any sort of a news story or anything like that coming through for Nvidia. I searched around, didn't really see anything, so we went long. A little bit of a execution there to the downside for Nvidia. Hey, happy as you know what. Nvidia is like, basically, I could just look and tell you, but it's about 10x P&L of the next best stock. So, I mean, today Nvidia has been absolutely fantastic. Well, actually, my next best stock is Palantir. Actually, it's only 3x Palantir. But right now, Nvidia just buy. Let's take advantage of that and stick with the same thing again and rebuy this little dip. What am I doing right now? I'm waiting at 37s. Okay, you know what? Let's take a 34 fill. There it is, right there, to get a piece out now. And then we can actually cancel our 37s. Maybe we'll go even higher. And that's trading right there. You got to be in front of your screen, of course, to see that. And we were in Nvidia, but to take advantage of that, a couple outs there right now for the high side. So now let's see if we can get this working out for us just a little bit more here. To the downside comes Nvidia. We buying some of these dips. It's just Nvidia related. So we can, unless it's AMD as well. Let's go double check AMD right now. Nice high side move, 147.60. So not much happening with AMD. It's actually holding the bid. The weaker name, and we don't say this that often, is going to be Nvidia right now as that's pulling back in. So potentially a story here on something, I don't know. But
Amat didn't move.
Is pulling
ARM
down.
didn't move.
Yeah, no, that's why we're long.
Yeah, TSM.
We got back into the long. We just took a little bit, 23s there. We got out 37s, 35s right here. It's now at 37. So it's just a small little 15 cents right now. Trying to top it up. Let's see if it gets going. My next offer is at 45. Actually, it's at 42. I'm going to change that a little bit. Go into 45 or so. There it is, 44s. Oh, we just offered. See, we just offered 44 there, and it stopped on a dime, but that's okay. Hopefully next time we don't pull it and it continues to go. So right now, that's what we're waiting for. Hopefully a big trade alert here. There it is. Yes, sir. Hot dog cannon again. Nice little move right there for Nvidia. So we'll just take 20 cents, just sort of sleeping here and being a little bit aggressive as it moves down. Market not doing much. Find a stock that just moved. It's Nvidia. We took advantage of it.
Yeah, it was a very, very weird move there, but it's paying dividends for sure. I wish we got out of Amazon and found our way back into it, but I thought the dip would be, maybe it's a bias, but I thought the dip would be a little bit bigger on Amazon. It just made another fresh high of the day. So next available pullback, we'll have to see if it does give you that 177 again. No, don't want to, we already mentioned Amazon in there. I do want to go over, I saw that move on Nvidia, and my first thought was, if it's going to flush, what was something that was on some support that might get taken with it, or at a level which might start to go? So I saw AMD holding underneath those highs. If there is something to this, and I'm not saying there is, but if there was something to it, it's 3:30. We're about to get into those final trades into the imbalances. If we never break the high and the chips want to go, something consolidating here. I mean, I'm going to punch Intel if it breaks 50, but AMD looks pretty solid as well off of the high of the day, like a fail break of the high of the day. That's presuming that there's actually some smoke to go with that fire, which might not be true whatsoever. I know Sega and all that other small cap stuff, that's all moving. Mara just finally, so if it won't break 1550, it finally came into the top of the range. So just going to scalp it inside of the range. And if it never breaks 1550, maybe we get a shot at trading that level tomorrow. Although with the way Mara goes, there's no chance it's a flat bottom break that doesn't go, and you're going to get that break in the morning. It'll probably retest that level in the pre-market or a gap away from it in some fashion. So I'm short it off the high. If it breaks the low, that'll be a separate trade or maybe something we can play tomorrow for Mara. Week name in the afternoon, Mara up 3% today. We're actually only long this stock going into this trade, but weak name relatively speaking. Market at highs, Bitcoin, Mara, all looking relatively weak.
Let's go. Let's just do props. You know, there it is. So 23s to 60s. It's 40-cent winner. It's Nvidia. We just got 40 cents in 4 minutes. So that's going to be a good trade. We also just took out some more Google right there. So that's going to be a winner. Oh, man. We really, really, really enjoy trading for sure. Thank you, Fabian. We will get to Adara in just a few seconds. Nice move down. Let's see what happens here with Google if it does pull back in. There goes Nvidia. I mean, that right there, you know, I hope you guys had this. Look at this. Look at this, Neil. There it is, man. It's 50 cents. It is a props trade right there, no matter how you do that. Thank you, Coffee Trader. Thank you, Sean. Thank you to everybody there in the chat as well. Yeah, this is what it's about. That's another good trade there for Nvidia. And it just goes to show you, we talked about this with all of our viewers, all of our guests today as well. Trade the names and go for what's been hot. I just told you about sort of how much damage Nvidia has been putting on today for all the traders on the floor. By far, my number one name, like I said, now it's about 4 times higher than Palantir, which is in second place. But Nvidia right now, nice moves to the upside. Let's just continue to go with all of that. There goes Nvidia. Huge move upside. Palantir's trying to go with it. It's 40 cents in the money on Palantir as well as that continues to climb higher into its afternoon highs. Look at the NASDAQ, man. Just go, go, go. This is why we're trying to think about this trade right now on Google, because as the NASDAQ makes these highs, Google just hanging around trying to figure itself out. Someone else is hanging around. It's Adara. She's over at the green screen.
Take a look at some of these S&P 500 names making outsized moves to the upside or the downside. And today's theme has to do with the 13F filings. We had Pershing Square here with this Nike position, adding 3.04 million shares, starting a position there, saying that they're set to discuss this investment at another date, but up 5% for NKE. Also, though, CMG on watch. Their position, actually, Pershing Square has quite the position. Average price of just under $9 a share, so great look there for CMG, though they did offload 23% of their position. Chipotle still to the upside here, though. Pershing Square issuing some positive compliments about the company, saying that Brian Nichols' work was, quote, superb, and that there should still be some strength here with this company even after his departure. So nice bullish look there from Pershing Square. Last but not least, Supermicro here, up more than 8%. Not a huge position, though, but Soros Fund Management disclosing a 25,000 share stake, or they've added 25,000 shares here. So interesting look here for SMCI. This one's strong all day, guys.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, and watch out. I saw someone put in the chat there, I just confirmed that Zoom story. It actually retested some of the lows. So it's starting to follow through a little bit into the downside. We just got in, play the range. So I wanted to break down in Mara. It decides that it does not want to break down. It just wants to go up. So we'll short the top end. Still going to take a break of this low. Been sitting here for 1 hour. In that time, Bitcoin flushed. In that time, you had Coinbase move down like a couple of bucks. But I still have a stop order. We're going to take a break of the 15.5. But if it wants to sit in here in this 10, 15 cent range, then we'll work off of that and just see what happens to come next. So it just made the first move. If it does a flat bottom break, is about 10 minutes change until we get the imbalances. After 350, I don't like those extremes of taking breakouts or breakdowns. I usually look for reversions at that time, but it's about to break this low here on Mara. Waited patiently for it. Let's see if it actually follows through. You got 48 as the local bottom here. Well, let's actually check that. It's like 49. 48 would be where we try to get short. 49 is the local low on MARA as it's starting to go. We got our reload on Intel. The last one was at 63. Looks like it's trying to break out that top. Remember, this is not a trade that I'm holding to here. The original entry was off the 80s. Then we shorted it off the lower high. Looks like it wants to break out the next even dollar level here on INTC. So it's like the 4th or 5th time we were shorted. The first time, no good. Second time, good. Third time, looking like it wants to break back out. But if the risk is going to be tiny, you want to make sure you adhere to your stop. So if it breaks that even dollar and we get a print above, once it actually prints the midpoint, then I'm just going to be out of INTC. So there it goes. It's now come out. You just saw it happen right there at 71s. I like to set mine to the midpoint order. Once you actually have a tick above, I want that printing one tick higher or the midpoint, and then you're good to go. That way you're not always hitting the offer. But Intel just came out there, and we'll see if we get that move down on Mara to be able to add to it.
All right, so Intel right there, good one there, or I guess came out. So yeah, we'll wait to see what happens there as the market is near the highs for Intel. Nvidia pulling, Google pulling. We just got a great fill there on Google as well. I don't know. People are asking me what is going on with crypto, and I mean, I don't know. So I still trying to listen in my ear. I have the Benzinga Pro platform. I don't see anything that's happening right now. Adair just ran over to the desk to find out if there is something else that she may be able to see. But there it is, man. It's still going to the downside. I would say you have to watch out for that 54 and change. If that comes through, something to look at for sure there with crypto, and maybe 54,000 coming into play a little quicker than many expected here for that. So a nice push for BTC downside right now. So, okay, interesting look there. Not really sure why. But yeah, see Intel popping up there again.
CNBC might have said something about it, but I don't know.
That's what happens. But right now, you know, we just, as I said, man, we're trading the names that are moving around, and we talked about that again. Looking at Google, looking at Nvidia. Nvidia is now 30 cents in the money. We only have 40% left. We have actually a little bit less than that. Actually, no, 40% left. We have 3 outs up there. I thought that was 4 outs. That was not. That was us getting out of our long for 40, 50 cents right back in. I think we may put another out right now into this area. Let's just do that. Let's take a 61 if we can. There it is, blast through 61, and we get that fill. And again, this is what we're doing, man.
Another one.
We talk about this with Raider Trader. We talk about this with many of the traders that we have here all the time, and that is that you're nothing if you're not honest, right? And I mean, we just talking about that right there. This is the trade. We just put it out. We just got filled there on Nvidia right in front of everybody. So there's the offer. We showed you live level 2. We talked about the price we got. It went through us at 61, and there's the fill, and there's the out. So now we only have 20% left as it continues to fall back in. So I know it's going to be tough to make the same trades as I do. A little bit easier because we can hold them for longer, and these have been quite simple right now. And again, that's the feedback that I've gotten from all of you, right? And that is that try to make simple trades, easy to understand, easy to explain, possibly trades that are held for a little bit longer and things like that. And just, I'm doing that for myself as well, you know, trying to make sure that we trade the right names, hold out for the right moves, because in this market, this is what you can get every day. It's the bigger winners. And again, Adam, he's going to be visiting us, and we talked a lot about this. And that's the feedback that he gave me as well from an experienced trader. You know, right now, these markets are primed for being able to hold winners a little bit longer when you get the juice. And right now in the afternoon, there isn't too much juice right now. But you could see, though, you know, just being able to hold this as we get down and get some of these fills, you know, and then not taking them out as we get too nervous as they come back up. Making sure your levels are hit, taking them out, and reaping the benefits of those trades. So far, so good with all of that. And again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and just keep on rocking with us every single day. Yeah, weak time of the year historically. Yeah, weaker for the markets. We did talk about that.
Generally, yeah.
I don't, for me, and I'll take a word that our friend used today, JC, that I've been using for a long time in these markets. All that stuff is fugazi. You know, the market will do whatever it wants to do right now, right? We have elections coming up. We have a lot of big interesting stories happening, including war possible, honestly. Stuff happening right now in the Middle East with oil as well. Lots of stuff happening. Gold breaking out right now. Rates, I mean, this could be a weak historical time. There's no doubt. You cannot deny the facts when you look at that. But I just want to make sure that, hey, there could be some big things that happen at any time, any month, any day, any week that can cause this market to turn on its head, including volatility like we saw last Monday when the VIX spiked up like 300% or whatever it was there, 15 up to $60.
It was, the VIX move was completely
yeah, and so you never know when that could spike either way, which does make trading options very interesting at this time of day. It's Adara. She's at the desk. Let's get
reading some analysis here with regards to what's going on with Bitcoin and the USD here, as we do have Bitcoin continue to push the lows of days. What I'm seeing here from some Bitcoin-related analysts, I do have this analytic platform Look on Chain saying apparently this could be related to the CPI yesterday. We know we had the CPI, Bitcoin selling off on that. Again, I'm just seeing some analyst speculation, but not seeing any actual evidence or one story. Another thing as well that I'm seeing a little bit of, though again unconfirmed, is Look On Chain saying that apparently almost $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, so $966.4 million worth of Bitcoin, were transferred to Coinbase Prime from the US government in 3 transactions this year. So some potential governmental selling of Bitcoin. Again, speculation, still looking into this, but some potential reasons we could have this move down in BTC, seeing as well that these events are being viewed by Bitcoin bears as reasons to sell. So again, lots of speculation, no hard evidence, guys.
I mean, look, obviously, technically, I think the fact that you fell at 60,000 matters, and you lost the support level the last couple of sessions. You've been holding 58. That goes. Do we get back down in? I think look. It seems like we might be testing that 54 tomorrow, and that might just coincide with the biggest. This is not the biggest support, but it's a rather large support level on Mara, and it might not even be 15. It might just be the 14 level. I know a lot's been said about Mara at $15, but if you zoom it way out and just keep going left, $14 has been the actual bottom. Like underneath 15 without actually breaking 14 is the way to think about it. So I think this is a really good chance that you're going to get some kind of a test of that if we continue this pattern. I just tried to reload this at 60 and it went to 59. It's going to sit there at 60. We have 5 minutes till the imbalances come out here. I'm not expecting anything, but you never really know. So the best guess, usually for me, when I'm looking for is there going to be some kind of big imbalance comes out that you'll trade, is what moved the most that day that sometimes has one. In that particular case, it's Tesla and Nvidia. Those are the two that have moved the most that might have big imbalances. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Amazon. I have no idea. But I'm going to be looking at those two for a bit of a reversion play, maybe a little AMD. But I'm going to stick with this Mara for the breakdown at least until 350. Then I cancel the order for the break of the low. If it's like 349.5, I'm going to cancel that order and just stick with what we have.
All right, yesterday we saw a big imbalance come from Nvidia, and we ripped that stock. We ripped it. We're ripping it today. Nvidia has been an absolute monster. Get the down, baby. Let's go Google, man. And again, apologize for the excitement. Not. Nice move down in again here as Google. There it is, man. We'll take another piece out on this drop in. Again, like this is the trading that we're doing, man. Good stuff right there. Trade the more aggressive, like we said. For me, trading a little bit of faster names, but we are going to get out right now of Palantir. We have a very, very small piece. We should have got out once it broke the 50 period. We're going to get out on a break of VWAP. So right now, my stop was breaking 30.70s on this trade, and we didn't even get our full fill anyway. So 31. Let's just go 31.14. We'll put the stop out. 100% of the trade will be coming out of the bank right there if that does happen. And then right here, we will wait to see what exactly is happening with Nvidia as well, as we still have that 20% of this stock. We'll try it against 122. Again, never a great situation to be doing stuff ahead of the imbalances, but let's just have a quick look. And again, there are no NASDAQ names on these imbalances right now. So if you do have a source that will have NASDAQ names, please let me know, and we'll be able to double check. Yeah, Google, bang to the downside. Right now, there's Nvidia coming in, but look at Google right now making this similar move, trying to break through 61. We're short 61.60, 60 cents in the money right now. Walmart with a sell. So we'll have to wait to see if that hits. Remember, at 350, you're going to get a much more updated version of all of this, and that's when they'll all be live, being able to trade against live in the market. So that's a difference. Right now, you give your orders into the system, and it just balances them out. So when you're seeing on Walmart right here, paired off already 1.21. So you kind of got to add those two together to say that there is a sell imbalance right now of 2.8 million or so, right? 1.6 and 1.2, 2.8 million, where it's already had a buy of 1.2 to pair it off. So BAC, Pfizer as well, those are both buys. XOM is a buy right now. These are small amounts. When you're talking about less than 10% of the day's volume, not huge for that. We'll wait to see in a couple minutes. We had Nvidia come out. I think it was about like,
how big?
It was maybe like 2 million, something like that. But then it grew, and then that's
the kill spot.
Wow.
Right there.
All right. I say wow because Nvidia just went all the way back there to the upside again, and our net kind of just took off a little bit there again. So far, so good here as the market's battling itself back. we'll be at the highest spot we were at all day as we end the show because we've only put on bangers since the morning, man. I mean, we had that Shopify trade that we did not win on, but Palantir, great trade there into the close and into the afternoon, buying that name at 11 o'clock. Nvidia just been honestly, such a great stock to trade since that split. Been really, really happy with that performance. And then being able to have made back on this short for Google, not what we lost here, but the fact that we sort of found our way again, went back into that short and really did well to cover all of that into the close. So right now it's 348.50 with just a minute left. We'll have Neil be on the report tonight with Danielle Shay, so that should be fun.
Little Amat earnings.
A little bit of Amat action coming through there, and I'm sure she'll have lots to say about any stocks.
Well, we'll probably talk some big cap tech. The way you can't have a market rally from what we did last Friday. And we didn't get a chance to talk to Danielle last week, so a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But she's feeling better now, and I mean everyone's feeling better. In your long-term account, these are the kind of days where it's fun to check it. Although I still say left brain, right brain. If you check your long-term account too much, all you're going to do is you're going to get FOMO, or you're going to get you just convince yourself of reasons to sell. You should have good ones. With 30 seconds to go, maybe there's an imbalance on Nvidia, maybe not. So it's either Mara breaks, and we try to take it, although I'm probably going to cancel that. It looks like it's too late. But if Nvidia does come one way and we have an opportunity to grab an imbalance trade, we will go ahead and do that. 15 seconds to go. The only early look is Walmart. That's of any size. They reported earnings and then barely moved at all the entire day. So I'd be a little bit surprised if that wasn't paired off on Walmart because that's all they've been doing is pairing off any kind of move in either direction. Matt, we can answer some questions on stocks after the imbalances drop here. Intel, sell, no surprise, 2 million. Broadcom, 1.3 million to the sell side. Marvell, 1.1 million to the sell side. So sell imbalances on several tech names, although nothing on Nvidia. AVGO, Marvell, AMD, 1 million. It's like everyone but Nvidia, 2 million Intel, 1.2 Broadcom, 1 million Marvell, 1 million AMD, and no Nvidia. But it's all sell-side action here to the downside on most of the chip names, with the exception of Nvidia. Apple, 900,000 to sell. Snowflake as well, a sell of 900,000 shares.
We're doing it again, by the way. Huge move there on Google to the downside. We bought Nvidia on that dip. I mean, yeah. There it is, man. There's another move. We just bought 112.12s or 122.12 right there on Nvidia. So again, boom. All right. So what a great afternoon. Thank you everybody for watching again this afternoon. You know, if we don't talk about these trades, then we don't get to show them to you or anything like that. So you know, Niels has his today, and I just hope you see the different styles. You see the different trades, right? Like I was trading very much more active names into the close, and then you can get names like Mara and Intel that are maybe 5 or 10 cent movers, but still can have moves. So, you know, you got to definitely look out for all of those plays coming through. And then Palantir is still right here. I mean, I'll probably just offer out of Palantir. Well, actually, it's about to slip up anyways through 14s. So there it is. There's VWAP right now. We'll see if it comes out. I just put an offer at 19. Maybe we get that, maybe we don't. But we'll wait for that one to come through again. And Nvidia, I mean, that just ripped to the upside. We still have 30% of this. We put another offer right here at 37s. There we go. We get that fill as well. So just topping it up here into the end of the night. So yeah, man. So far, so good as we go. But yeah, Google making that downside movement. 70 cents in the money for Google, 40 cents in the money for Nvidia, 30 cents in the money for Palantir is how we're trading. And it's been trading real well. So yeah, congratulations to everybody out there today. I hope you enjoyed the show. There we go. We got a little bit. We got part filled there at 19. Let's see if we can get a little bit more out next time it pops back up there for Palantir. But yeah, good.
Little acceleration here is Apple actually grew to the sell side here. So Apple accelerated, the market accelerated to the downside. It wasn't there before, but Apple is now leading the pack in terms of notional value for the imbalances at 1.5 million. If you're looking at that flash down in the futures, the last one was right when Apple ticked over 1 million shares on the imbalance. I think at 355, if there's a pairing event, you might catch a little bit of a bounce. So there's about 2 or 3 minutes to go until that happens. Want to be ready for it. And sometimes it's just the only trade is going to be the range trade. So Mara never broke the bottom. And if it breaks it, it's now too late. So if the trade is only between 1560 and 1548, then that's the trade, and you do what you can. And if it breaks tomorrow, then hopefully we can trade that one tomorrow. Mara looking like it wants to retest a monster level on the daily, and not in a good way because it's support at the bottoms while the market is at the tops. Be nice if it was breaking higher, but that's not what we're seeing with this stock tomorrow. If it breaks these bottoms, I'm probably going to be, we'll see. I mean, I'll say it and then we're going to gap underneath 15. Let's go to the desk.
Got one name here actually trying to make new day's highs as we head into the close. Decent volume pop slow day. That's going to be Hawaiian Holdings. HA trading higher after the company and Alaska Airlines have now gotten an agreement with the DOJ to further extend their review period until basically right after midnight there on August 20th. Initially, this was actually just extended as of yesterday to August 16th. So yet another extension of this DOJ review, sending HA to almost new highs of days as we head into the close, up almost 10%, guys.
Yeah, that's a dangerous, dangerous name. Hey, Zoom actually held the lows. Good for them. It was breaking the low last I mentioned it, but Zoom on potential issues looking like it's going to hold out for it. I see you in the chat there. Sea Battles, Disney, Disney, Disney. Disney is doing its absolute best to trap me into, well, I just want to buy it if it holds the week above 88. And then I can come in on Monday morning and it looks like it's making a curl off that level. But it's right there right now, testing what was previous support to resistance. 3% day for Meta. Coffee trader, you're right. Meta's almost at a 52-week high. One of the things we mentioned with Raider, I mean, it's got me at least a little bit nervous about these tops on Meta. Like you were just bouncing the 200-period moving average, and now we're one good day away from making a 52-week high. Just feels a little fast for me, that's all. So taking a little bit never hurts. You know, a small percentage of what will be like in a long-term position there. So with not much time, 355 just hit. There was a bit of a bounce in the market there. Not much, but most of the names did pair off there, except for Nvidia flipped to a buy of 1.5 million. It was not there before, so everything paired off, and then that one flipped to a buy. I'm just going to jump out of this trade, and again, if you can just try to rinse and repeat something that works, a $15 stocks move 10 cents, I'll take it if that's what it wants to do. No breakdown for me. If it breaks here on Mara, I'm not taking that trade. I said in the last 5 minutes, it's going to be a no-go. Got to get up to the desk, but we're going to have Adara, Amat earnings, myself, and the return of Danielle Shay. We'll have a lot to cover in quite a short amount of time. 2 weeks worth of movement we're going to get to cover.
All right, good. Yeah, lots of opportunities there as we go. Thank you to Erie and everybody in the chat there, for noticing and recognizing and talking about some of these trades that we've just had on sort of silently here into the end of the day. I mean, just putting up big wins again. Google we covered down here in the 90s, so that was a really good trade to go. Only 3 minutes left this morning. A little bit of a cooler number on the jobs. Really started to get this market going. And there it goes, just straight to the upside on that report. Never even traced back, never really traced back. This is a 50-period moving average, basically rode it all day before we finally get that dip that we're part of. So that was really good move there all day, keeps on going. We had a better number for PPI, a better number than for CPI, and today a better number on the jobless claims. So we'll have to wait to see. I don't know if there's any numbers tomorrow. We'll definitely check those out as well. But yeah, man, into the close, we did it, man. We did it again. And we put on for you and been talking about the #1 P&L stock for the floor today, Nvidia. And it's not even close. And this is why. Super strong name, super strong trend, market trending higher. I lose when stuff like this happens. And then we win when stuff like this happens. So I feel like every day we need to be really, really patient and waiting for our best opportunities. And we haven't been doing a great job of that, to be honest with you. Google today, this is the #1 losing stock on the floor today because of myself, of course. What am I even thinking? Breaking that 161 right there, that did not work, man. And again, the same fate, basically the same fate again. We lost about 30 or 40 cents there on a decent sized position and wasn't really able to recover all day from that play on Google alone. But then we went back, we started shorting it, we made money on this short right there, we made money on these shorts, and then this last one that we've had today has been a money make, but we got to get out of some of these shares. We held into the aftermarket a couple days ago and got to fill afterwards. I'm not really getting the same vibes right now. We're already in the money now, 40 cents on this trade as we bounce around 50 cents. We're long at 122.12. So let's give this a shot at it. There it is. Yeah, see what's up, Skips. Again, best day in 2 weeks. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. If you're trading the right names, hopefully the best day will be tomorrow as well. Just keep it going with only a minute 30 left. Just keep on going, right? I mean, keep on pushing that envelope. You know, you'll never get better as a trader until you push the envelope. There's nothing else. You could sit there in sim mode, trade small shares, whatever. It's all great. But until you're actually in the fire, it's a completely different story. So that's why we always say, once you feel like it's time to light that fire, then please go over there and start doing it, because there are lots of opportunities in this market for everybody. And regardless of your style or not, you can, you know, make whatever trades you want happen. And, you know, that's just some positive talk there. Keep going with what you're doing. And, you know, you will be fine. Trust on that one. And stick with us, man. It's Trader TV Live. All right, Google right now. I'm probably just going to get out. It was a good day, good afternoon. We only have a minute left. Let's just bid 20s there. Oh, we bid 19s. We'll see about that. It's Nvidia right now, man. It is your trade of the day, as talked many times on Trader TV Live. It's Nvidia, and there it goes, man. It's a banger of a trade right there, Nvidia. It's been so good that we've been able to up our shares because it's only a $122 name, being a lot more confident. I mean, I kind of was using similar shares, honestly, when it was $1,000, $1,200, but was pretty dangerous. Thing is, it's always had great liquidity. You just got to watch out for the spreads. When it moves, it's a lot easier when we do have this. There it is. It's a 70-cent winner. It's an 80-cent winner to close the day again on Nvidia. The same thing we did yesterday. 3, 2, 1, kill him with kindness. It's a Dara, and we are now closed out. And let's just offer out on Nvidia upside, see if we get some of these prints. What a great move into the end of the day. Wowzers. I hope you guys appreciate some of the trading that's been on today. Thank you to Adara. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Sharif, Fabian as well. Brendo there. We want to thank all of our guests today, including Mr. JC Peretz. We'll see you soon, my guy. And then we will also say thank you to Raider Trader right there. So yeah, if you see Sharif and myself running around the streets tonight, you may see us with JC. So we'll see about that, if that can happen or not. Nice move there for Nvidia at the end of the day. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. It's the recap show now. It's 4 o'clock. It's Amat. It's H&R Block. And here we go. Thank you. I'm back tomorrow. It's Trader TV Live. Like and subscribe. Ciao.
Yes, sir, and welcome to the aftermarket show. We've got Amat, which we're expecting at 4 o'clock. There's really not much in the way of earnings, but Amat is the only one that is a big name, and unfortunately, the first look is to the downside here for Applied Materials. It just pushed 207 on the bid here, down about $5, so a couple of points to the downside here on Amat. Must have the numbers already right back to even, so it looks like we're about to break out the bottoms back into the tops. Oh, did they rinse people again? If this breaks out the highs here, those fat fingers, those early traders that don't wait for the numbers to fully digest might be in a little bit of trouble. So Amat is out, slightly down, now coming back. What are the numbers, Adara?
They beat here for sales. Q3 sales, $6.778 billion versus the estimate of $6.673 billion. That's a beat. We also had a beat here for their fiscal Q3 adjusted earnings per share, $2.12 per share versus estimates of $2.02 per share. They also provided their Q4 adjusted EPS outlook. They're seeing earnings of $2 to $2.36 per share. Not seeing how that compares to estimates. When I see any other numbers, I will let you all know. But just to clarify, top and bottom line beat, EPS and sales beat, guys.
Yeah, and remember, this is a name that was expected 5% move, that was up 5% with the markets here for Applied Materials. Definitely a little bit of selling coming in there, regardless of the numbers. No such thing as good or bad earnings. There's just the numbers that get reported and what the market decides to do with it afterwards. Very important to remember that. On the daily chart here, you do have to respect that we had a pretty sizable bounce, and we mentioned this umpteen times in the afternoon and throughout the day, how big some of the bounces were since last Friday. This was like a 175 into like a 210 move. So it's a big move already going into earnings. I think regardless, you see a little bit taking off the top here on Applied Materials. As now it's trading right back underneath 210. It's not flushing by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly a beat, which has been response selling on the stock. At times, it just matters where it came from. Like you're flying into highs and you don't have an absolute blowout, and then you're going to get a situation like this where they're selling it off. I don't really see anything all that bad when it comes to Amat here.
I see.
Is there a guidance issue here?
There might be a guidance issue. It's not massive, but it just came in right as you said that, so I thought I'd address that. So as I said here, they saw Q4 non-GAAP EPS $2 to $2.36. That was their guidance. Analysts were looking for $2.14, so within their range. Fiscal revenue. So here's their Q4 revenue here, where they're seeing $6.53 billion to $7.33 billion. So it's a pretty wide range. It's almost $1 billion range. Analysts, though, were looking for $6.91 billion. So that's a little bit removed from the lower end of their forecast. That could be what the issue is. They're a bit in between their forecast, both these estimates.
Yeah, you throw that in with the move that we had to the upside, and now you can start to see, move going into earnings to the upside, and now you can start to see why you might have a little bit of pressure on Amat. It's still, as I see in the chat, I mean, the Piper just said, it's still okay, it's up 3% on the day. It's actually still up 4% from prior close. If you check those bottoms, that would only be about 3%. But hey, it's holding on to some of this bid here. If you look at it, from the standpoint of is anything else moving, everything seems to be holding some gains there. Nvidia is holding its gains in the aftermarket. If you look overall, like Amat's not usually going to be the type of earnings play that's going to move the Qs. You're still up 2.5 points there, so there's not exactly a big follow through anywhere else here. And let's be real for a second. This is the kind of day, I mean, you guys can all take a look at all these ETFs on the right-hand side, and or you could have just been following the market in even any kind of a general sense today, and you know what kind of a day it was. Very few things were weak, and one of the more, I don't want to say bizarre, one of the things that stood out this afternoon was the fact that Bitcoin had pulled back because it failed at 60,000 and was a bit of a pullback, and that's where the weakness was. Coinbase was down at the end of the day. Bitcoin was down at the end of the day, but you got Qs 2.5% to the upside. Yeah, the SPY absolutely busting out. I mean, SMH was flying up 4.2%, a little bit of pressure in the aftermarket. When Amat came down, it's going to pull back a little bit. And only because someone's like, why are you guys talking about Cathie Wood so much? Well, someone asked me about Pacific Biosciences. And so we talked about the stock, and it just so happens that it's one of hers. So was it daylight today? Is ARK going to be up? Yeah, it's up. But that's not the reason. It ain't Pacific Biosciences why the big mover is ARK today. An unbelievable day for Tesla, up 6.5%. Absolutely flying. Tesla was the one that got away. There was no particular catalyst for Tesla. So I think a lot of people might not have come in thinking, hey, this is going to be the one to go. Certainly understandable Nvidia. Certainly understanding some of the Chinese ADRs that moved early in the day. But this one, Tesla, 6.5 points, and that's pulling back off of some of those highs. So unbelievable day that we've had in this market so far, Dara. I have to ask you, because I know this is the first day in a bit that I don't think I heard you say once Eli Lilly in the midday show.
I know.
So, and then you know what? My first thing first is, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The chips were flying around. The Qs were strong. And I don't remember anybody being excited at any point during today about some of those, like the Mercks and the Pfizers and some of the pharma companies, which there was a news story this morning. The story was the pricing came in, the Biden administration came in with the pricing where they're capping prices on certain drugs. So like, if you had a big drug like the Big 10, they all had like one thing which they got to put a cap on. So that was seen as a bit of an issue for them. So I say kudos to you for not, I don't want to say wasting time with Eli Lilly today, but recognizing the juice was going to be somewhere else today.
Yeah, so that was my thing too, is I also wanted to be really careful. I wasn't overly relying on trading Lilly. I'm happy that I traded it live. I honestly, none of the trades I've taken live on Lilly I have any regrets about. I managed them all appropriately. One of them was profitable, but I did not want to be over-reliant of it. I was very cognizant of that when I started trading it again. However, today was not my day. I was profitable on one name, by a hair. It was a Palantir short. I took right at the end of the midday. To be clear, I had levels on it. It came into my level, took it short, got out at the end of the midday. The position size was decent, so it was like I took it with some size, really small risk, ended up making some money on that. But other than that, other than a couple SPY scalps, it was not my day. I was not giving anything enough risk, so that's what I need to learn from. Because if I got out of my Microsoft long at the bottom wick and it just kept going higher. So that's one thing you need to be like, hey, could I be risking more? Could I be managing that more appropriately? Time to aggressively journal. Again, not necessarily actively disappointed in any of the trades, but just there's a lot of reflecting that could and will be done.
You know what? And undefeated is the early move being a shakeout on earnings the last couple of weeks here, because Amat right back into the green. We've said it before and we will say it again. I'm going to say it until I'm like, well, probably as long as we're here. So until I'm dead. At the end of the day, sometimes that initial move is going to be the right way and you can just trade it and you're good to go. But be very careful with that initial move on earnings. Make sure they digest the whole report. Now, obviously, if you just scalped out of some kind of a short on a breakdown, congratulations, that actually wasn't that bad. But Amat went green up to 215 and now right back into evens here on applied materials. Any new numbers here that just came out that might have caused that move, Adara?
I was seeing anything on Amat, but I'm seeing some mention here of H&R Block. Amat, we had the same numbers there. It's still the guidance that we had that was a little bit mid to in line, and then our earnings beat. But H&R Block, wow. So H&R Block here, they did announce their adjusted earnings per share for continuing operations, $4.41. Analysts were looking for $4.30. That would be a beat here. They also here, what other numbers do we have? They did announce a 17% dividend increase and a $1.5 billion share repurchase authorization. So $1.5 billion buyback program there for H&R Block. Let me see. I'm trying to see if we have any kind of revenue here. So the way they report things are different. I'm not really seeing compared to estimates. Revenue, we did get $3.6 billion in revenue. Pre-tax profit, $762.3 million. Operating expenses here, $2.8 billion. So some of the numbers, not seeing any of those compared to the estimates beyond their earnings per share beat, guys.
Yeah, sometimes all you got to do is sprinkle a little buyback action on it, and everything is going to be just fine for H&R Block. And you might consider it a boring stock, but that doesn't look boring. That looks to me on this daily chart like you have been trending and trending and trending and trending higher, almost back into some fresh, well, I mean, it was almost back into some fresh highs. Now it's breaking out some 52-week highs here on H&R Block. There's nothing bad about a stock getting into fresh territory to the upside. Blue sky setup, it looks like tomorrow morning on H&R Block, up 6 points right now. There was not really much of anything in terms of a pullback just here. I can throw a 1 minute so you can get a quick look at it. These are bad. It didn't really trade down here. I was watching it. You've been holding above 60, now $61. So 52-week high in here for H&R Block. Just double checking back in here on Amat. It's still lollygagging around the same mid-level. Saad Mohammed, H&R Block, seems like a stock Brian Shannon would be playing. Maybe. You might be right. We don't have Brian today. We've got someone coming back who was unable, and what a crazy week last week was. With doom and gloom on Monday, so everyone thought, then a rip your face off rally, which is still continuing today. And we didn't get to talk to one of our favorite guests, Danielle Shay. Day and Shay, that actually rhymed, and that wasn't even intentional. So look, there's going to be a heck of a lot to look at. When we talk about 52-week highs, you're going to be right about that, General, in the chat. Meta, very likely to test a new one here. So it was a monster green day. Just to finish off, I didn't really go through every single sector in there, but when we say it was a broad move here today, Jets up, FXI up, Silver was up, K-Web was up. I think you just had so many things that were strong in a day like today. XBI, I mean, the biotechs were actually pretty strong, although I still say the biotechs are channeling their inner, I don't know, it's like a, can we do it? Can we do it? Are we going? I throw up the daily chart. It's like, well, are we going to test the high? Are we going to test the high XBI? Are we going to test the high? Are we going to break it out? And the answer has just been a no. This double top seems like it's been threatened often, but no actual punch through on the XBI, which I know some people have been dip buying in there. I own individual names that happen to make up a lot of this, but yeah, no real follow through just yet. Strong bounces on this. Love to see that one actually take out the top. I know we are going to have Danielle Shay on in just, I don't know if we get the okay in it But she is ready. Okay, well, I'm excited. It's not often that we have moves like this in the market, and a lot of you in the chat, you're options traders. You're interested. And this kind of volatility is exactly why we want to have Trader Talk with Miss Shay. Danielle Shay, Trader Danielle, welcome back. Glad that you're feeling better with a smile on your face. It's great to see you. We missed you last week with all these market shenanigans.
I missed you guys too. I was laying on my deathbed so sick, and it was very sad I couldn't be here, but I'm so sad to be back.
That's what it's all about. And like I was saying, and by the way, I'm gonna out how nice and gracious Danielle was. She apologized for not coming on when she was sick, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Family and health come first. We all understand. Our community loves you, and there's no way we want you to do anything but get better. Because hey, in these markets, you want to be on your A game, right? And I think that's important. And nobody ever wants to put money to work or make important decisions when you're under the weather. And I appreciate you wanted to always give us your best, Danielle. But how do we even summarize what happened in the last couple of weeks? Because on Monday morning, I'm going to rewind to last week, Monday. On Monday morning, I pull up the chat. Now, Sean's gone in London. I'm there with Obi. And we're getting questions. What is the limit down levels on the S&P 500 futures? What are the chances, or what is the history for surprise rate cuts in between meetings from the Fed? You went from that to the greatest rip-your-face-off rally we've seen in at least a few years for the last 2 weeks. What was your impression of last Monday, just as a starter?
So when you look at that, I mean, that's the number one reason why I will tell people that trade stocks, you have to at least pay attention to the put-call ratio in the options market, because that was the number one signal that it was time to buy last week. When you look at the way that things sold off really hard, right? And so when that happens, what occurs is people start to panic and they start to buy a lot of puts. And so we got to this situation where we were down at the 200 simple on the daily chart and the QQQs, which, by the way, I mean, that's typically a pretty good bounce point just by itself. But the thing that occurred with that at the same time was you had a put call ratio that was extremely elevated. So there was just a lot of fear in the market. So, the put call ratio, it doesn't tell you exactly when to buy, but it tells you that a short squeeze is coming, and all you need is a little bit of good news. And you just need the market to gap up overnight. When the market gaps up overnight, typically on good news, that's when people start buying the cover. And then it can start a move like this. And so, I mean, I just think this has been a phenomenal short squeeze rally. At this point, people are just continuing to get into it because you have people that are saying, oh man, I missed the bottom. Now I want to buy. So when you have people buying to cover, plus people coming in, making buys, the news continuing to get better, you just get a phenomenal ripping rally after a fantastic buying opportunity.
What unbelievable what it was. I got lucky myself. I'm going to ask you about two things, but you just made me think about Tesla. I was going to ask Meta, and I got lucky to have bought some Meta by almost near fluke, because I just happened to have a bid that got filled lower on Meta, and that's getting to some highs. But you just mentioned, a bit of a short squeeze rally in terms of maybe some people got caught offside with some bets southbound. Well, Tesla hasn't really had much of a catalyst, and it hasn't had the best time. So when I look at this, and maybe this is a reason why a lot of us traders this morning could have been maybe looking at Tesla more closely. Nothing wrong with Nvidia, that was fantastic. Nothing wrong with Apple and some of the other things that were trending to the upside. But Tesla was very explosive today without a particular reason to be in it. Now, do you think that plays into the fact that it is the options darling? And maybe when we have this kind of a rally, throw out what the stock has been doing, just be in that type of a name, regardless of what you might think should be moving the market. Would that be fair?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely fair. I mean, when you look at the long-term macro take versus what you can do, especially on a day trading basis, I mean, sometimes it doesn't really matter what the earnings picture looks like if it's rallying on an intraday basis, right? So, It just depends on your time frame and what you're trying to do with the stock. With Tesla in particular, I am still holding it in my long-term stock accounts. And yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit of a dud for me, but Tesla's had a couple quarters, well, more than a couple quarters in a row of not so promising earnings news. But what it needs is it just needs a catalyst, So we had positive macroeconomic catalysts over the course of the last week with the rate cut situation. Tesla, I think it still has a long way to go on the longer term time frame. But for us as short term traders, I mean, look at this. All you need is for it to break up above all of these moving averages right here. And that's what it was doing today. It was up 6%. It's up above the 200 simple. It broke up above the 50 simple, broke up above the 21 EMA, the 34 EMA. That's what it needs for recovery. So if it could just have a follow through day tomorrow, I need it to break up above today's high, close up above today's high tomorrow. Then I would be pretty comfortable trading it up into 230. But after a day like today, 6% day, if there's not follow through, it's just going to be stuck at this resistance zone at 215. So that's what you have to watch out for tomorrow.
Yeah, of course, it being a Friday, options expiration, a big level like that, 215. Great move, but we've already had. That leads me to Meta. I know we have a question. We're going to get to Nvidia, obviously, at some point. A lot of people interested in that, and Adair, I think, has some questions for you there. But I'm a little bit, when I get a move like this, or when we get a move like this, I should say, because I'm not at the market, it's anybody that participates in it. I look at, say, Meta. You mentioned 215 there on Tesla. Meta we're almost at the 200 period moving average. I feel like I blink my eyes and you're right back to 52-week highs. I feel like there's some alarm bells going off in my head right now for this. And should I even feel that way when a stock is at a high like this? Meta, obviously they print money long term. I don't really have any issues with it. But it is very tempting to take something off of the table when you get such free money rally like this right back into those highs. Is that crazy? Most people would tell you never sell at all-time highs or adjacent to them. It's generally speaking kind of a ridiculous thing to do in a very long-term sense. But what are your thoughts on something like this? We're not talking lower highs here. We're talking 52-week highs, and we're one day away from, or one good move away from it with Meta.
I think that it just depends on your time frame because I have Meta in my long-term stock account and I'm definitely not going to sell it. It has a lot of relative strength right now. Look at what the rest of the Magnificent Seven stocks are doing. You still have Google and Amazon that are pretty significantly below those previous highs. Microsoft even has been a little bit lackluster lately. And then you have Meta here up at the new all-time high pretty much. So, yes, you do have to take into consideration the whole potential triple top. Yes, there is resistance at that 545 level. If you're in a short-term trade, that's always going to be my first target. The return to the previous high, that's going to be my first target. That's what I call the easy target because it's a lot easier for a stock to hit a previous high than it is for it to go to a new high. But the key is what kind of volume and what kind of momentum does it have when it hits that level? If you hit that level and you get greater than average volume and you get a break through that zone, and then specifically you have more volume buying after it breaks that zone, it's going to the next target. So at this point, the next target, let me throw a fib level on here. My targets are going to be 570 and then 600 after that. So you just want to watch for the break of 542. And if you can get that with some continuation onwards and upwards to 570.
And there it is. That's why we like those sobering words because I'd said it a couple times on the show. Meta, the last time it was like Meta, Microsoft, and a few names had dropped into the 200 or close to it. I didn't quite pick them up. And I was like, I'm not going to make that same mistake the second time through with Meta. I'm going to try to buy it out in front of the 200 period on the next dip. So I just happened to get filled at 460 on that Monday. I didn't actively put an order in on my personal account. I just happened to get the fill. Now 15% in the money. I'm like, what are we doing here? But thank you for those sobering words. I think there's a lot of room to rally here. And one name that I think a lot of people are involved with, we haven't even gotten the report yet with Nvidia. Adair, you have a question about that?
Yeah, I was really wondering what your thoughts are on Nvidia. I know you've talked about the pre-earnings period being 21 days ahead of earnings. We are into that. It's just 13 days now until, and not even trading days, just days until we get that report. I know this was one as well you said you were interested in talking about on Twitter. Do you have any thoughts or levels right now on NVDA as we get into that very exciting report?
Well, this is one that I have been waiting for because, whenever you have a strong ticker like this and you have earnings coming up and you have the statistical probability of it trading higher, and then on top of that, you get this just gorgeous move lower. This move has been nothing short of fantastic. So when you look at the move down into support, I thought it could have gone as low as 83. It didn't quite get there. It got down into 90, and that was a pretty good zone of support. And we started to see a reversal, a lot of volume buying. So I think that, obviously that reversal there was a great entry for a run into this earnings report. But at this point in time, what I'm so excited about today is that it's broken through resistance, because when it rallies off of these lows, it's always one of those things where, you can target the overhead resistance, but you don't know if it's going to keep going, just like we just talked about with Meta. And you've broken through this $100 price point. You've broken through the 100 simple. You broke through the 21 EMA, the 34 EMA, and today we broke through the 50 simple. So up above 120. 120 was my price target for Friday, and we've already surpassed that. So I don't think it could look any better, honestly. And now that it's broken through all this resistance, you're at this spot where people are like, oh my gosh, I missed the buy on it. Now I have to buy it. And then you can make it keep going higher. So I think it looks great. I think it's going to return to the 140 price point. I don't know that it'll go directly there, but I think that we just need a follow through day tomorrow, and we need this stock to stay up above the 120 price point for it to be a continuation long.
Love that 50 period. And Nvidia, come on. Nvidia, that's never been a stock that people have gotten FOMO on, that they missed the dip on and then chased it all the way to the fresh highs. That never happens on Nvidia. But yeah, I think it looks fantastic. And again, big difference. It doesn't look that big of a deal on the chart between Nvidia and Tesla when you zoom it in, but it does matter that Tesla got huge day today. Tesla got there and didn't break. Nvidia got there, did break, and now holding above. And obviously we need to, we want to, and we need to close that week out and above as well. So that'd be a good thing for us. But we have all day tomorrow to sort of figure out where the next step is going to be. Look, it's not. It's a couple of weeks till we have that earnings on Nvidia. You always talk about that 3-week rule or going into it. Is there anything in particular that would set up on Monday for you? Let me just presume something. Let's just make the assumption that we hold the 50-period moving average. It's a little more fun that way. So we hold at 50, but we don't necessarily break a 125. We have a consolidated day where we're holding $121 within maybe a $2 range. If that's the case on Monday morning, you've still got a couple of weeks to earnings. Do you like a long back into that 50 is a simple question to play into that high. Would you want to put that on? Would you wait a couple of days to see what happens at that 50 period? Would you just say, hey, we're going?
So for me, with the 3-week time frame, it really comes down to when the technical setup sets up. So, a break through the 50 simple, whether it's today or Monday or whatever day it is, that's usually the trigger. So the breakthrough occurred today. So you just need a hold up above that zone and another bounce. So, if you held up above 120, there's a variety of things that you could do with it, especially in the options market. You could sell the 120 puts. You could sell a 120 put credit spread. You could buy a bullish butterfly. That's typically what I do. You could pair the put credit spread with a bullish butterfly. I think that the, quote unquote, easy target would be 130, 135 if you were going to target the upside, just because that's where you have all of this resistance. I know that I quoted 140, but that's more of the reach, right? Because that's, another $18 higher or so, and it would be a lot easier to hit the 130, 135 price target. So With my upside targets, I usually put the easy ones on and then I put a stretch trade on basically, because it's a lot easier to hit the lower ones than the higher ones, right? But you just trade it on the way up. So there's a lot of different things that you could do with it. You know, I see consolidation here that looks like it's going to break out, but I think more than anything, everybody's just looking at this stock, and after the short squeeze plus having, you know, FOMO induced buying rally. I mean, look at the indexes today. That's a FOMO induced buying rally. So it can keep going as long as the volume's there.
Hi, Danielle. I just wanted to come in, say hi quickly. I haven't seen you in a long time. You look fantastic. Just want to say congratulations and hi again from here at Trader TV. And hopefully we'll be able to connect soon. So, hi, Ms. Shay. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so much better. It's good to hear you, and it's good to be back and see all of you again. And, you know, I'm going to be here with you until I have my baby in November. So hopefully we have 3 more months to go.
And then I know you were going to come to Toronto, but maybe we'll have to come visit you at some point in the near future. So again, oh, did you get, Sharif wants to know if you got a Cybertruck yet. I think the answer is probably no on that one.
No, we had to cancel the Cybertruck order.
Right.
It's, you know, one of those things where you have to have one gasoline powered vehicle if
Right.
you're going to have an EV, because you never know. There might be some crazy electric problem where you don't have power for 2 weeks, especially when you live in Washington State and there's lots of windy
mess around.
storms. So I'm going to stick with one Tesla and one Ford F-150 for now.
Yeah, there was that. I don't know if you saw that video that some guy got his hands chopped off or something in the trunk fell on the Cybertruck or something crazy like that. But anyways, all right, that was a little cameo. Take it easy, Danielle. Nice to see you again. Ciao.
Easy, brother.
Nice to see you, Sean.
Thank you so much, Danielle. I know, the Ford F-150. I 100% agree with your sentiment. My dad lived in Florida for a little bit, and I know it's like when hurricanes coming and they're West Indian. Certainly, you just do not want to ever be in a situation where you have the ability to get your family, yourself and your family safe, and for one small decision, you feel like you can't. And there's something to be said about having a couple of gas cans around and something reliable. So I'm with you on that one, Danielle. Thank you so much for stopping through. I can't wait to talk to you next week as we're getting into the thick of things. Market right back into those highs. It's an exciting time to trade. So happy to have you here, Danielle, Shay, and best of luck with your trading going forward.
Thank you. I'll look forward to seeing you next week.
See you next week.
Danielle.
Always fun to have Danielle Shay on, and I love all the knowledge. And I wanted to acknowledge we did get a super chat in there, and I thank you, GZ or GZ, I should say, because you guys are American, so most of you. Ask her about puts on Starbucks. What I'm going to do, I don't know if she can still hear me, but the next time we talk to Danielle, we'll ask her about Starbucks. And you can always follow her on X, so you can always follow Trader Danielle on X and just ask her there. She's very gracious, always with her time and giving stuff. And she's in the chat right now, apparently, because she's amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle. I appreciate the super chat. We have the greatest community out there. And speaking of that community and the chat, it happens to be roll call time. So you know what the drill is. You got to make sure your name gets in there. Adara's locked and loaded. She had the ginger tea, which smelled delicious, by the way, to get herself prepared vocally for the roll call where you get your name read out in rapid fashion. Best and fastest and only roll call you're going to find on YouTube. Let's kick it on over to Adara. Get your names in there, everybody.
Okay, so first of all, I want to shout out Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you so much for everything you do every single day, helping with the voting for that segment. Shout out to everybody as well. We have Fabian, we have Ramin, who's not here today, but shout out to her. Shout out to Neil. Shout out to Sean, Sharif, everyone you don't see. Also, again, Danielle Shay, JC Peretz, Raider Trader. What a series of guests we've had here. Let's start with a roll call, though. We got Adrian. We have Neil Roberts in the chat. We have Bob Dubb. We've got Ron Miller, Dwayne, Terrence, CompuCare team, Mahishu. We've got Eli, Neil Roberts, not to be confused with Neil Roberts. Yander Alvarez. We've got Michael P. We've got Brandon Townsend, Sebastian, Hurry, Kanye East. I love that name. Trader Leah. We've got Dollar Bill, Enchantress, Wonderland, Sister Girl from Another World, 509 Blackjack, Isaac, Bakar City. We've got Stu. We've got Raul. We've got Jeff, Calicat. We have Wealthy G Money, Mark Ari Pages, Alfredo, Marlon B. We have V Whopper Trader. We've got Douglas Hardy. We've got J Boss, Cerise, TH, Sebastian, The Piper, Marie L. We've got UV the Great, We have RB Sniper, Sod, Forex AU. We have Richard Fan. We've got Will Status in the Kingdom with the $2 super chat looking for these $28 puts on ASTS. Hold up, September 6th. Best of luck to you there. Astis said quite the move up in space there, but hopefully, best of luck with those puts there. Shout out to you. Smooth 1J, we have Reeseful, we have Eurofilms, Douglas Hardy, Ari Pages again, Stu Ganu, Jai, Bala. What a day, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. Can't wait to be back tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Adara. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody at Trader TV Live and in our community. Shout out to, as you already mentioned, to Fabian on the ones and twos on his Lonesome today, doing a fantastic job, making us look and sound as good as possible. But you know what? We get to do it all over again. All this volatility the last 2 weeks, and we get to wrap it up on Friday. We had the Amat earnings come out there. You had H&R Block into the upside. You had all those moves, whether it's Tesla, whether it's Nvidia. As long as there's opportunity in the market, heck, that's just when the market's open. We're going to be there every day. So right back, bright and early, 8:30 tomorrow morning. Let's wrap it up and do it right. We're Trader TV Live, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.